Velina Mai Kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by celebrating Hawaiian language every day, not just 1 month out of the year. I'm your host Kamaka, and that being said, we will not be talking Hawaiian in this podcast. That's way too many subtitles to add, but if you do want to listen to a podcast all in Hawaiian, we do have an amazing guest today who does have a podcast all in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. But before we introduce him, I gotta tell you about this week's new giveaway. You already know here on the Keep It Aloha podcast, we're giving back to our community by giving away $500 or more in prizes every single week. Congrats to last week's winners for taking home $2,500 worth of PEMF products. Hit me up if you guys are interested in those life-changing machines. This week's giveaway is provided by Any Kind Collectibles and Ohana Collectibles and Deals. To enter, head to our Instagram and find the giveaway post. The full details will be in the description. The first place winner will receive 3 PSA 10 slabs and some sealed product. The second place winner will receive an ETB and other sealed product. And the third place to fifth place winners will receive Surging Sparks blister packs. All of this is worth well over $1,000. I'll be pulling the winners on Wednesday and announcing them on Instagram. For an extra 5 entries, email my wonderful assistant Nicole at keepitaloha.com. Your favorite Pokemon, email her your favorite Pokemon, as well as the secret word / phrase from this episode. And as always, the prizes and entry instructions can change every week, so make sure you're following us and listening to the full episode so you never miss a chance to win. Good luck and enjoy this episode. All right, let's introduce our guest.
After 175 years, some people still think we're just a ranch.
And we just farm all day.
What they don't realize is we wear many hats. And that's just how we roll.
You just might see some old friends.
Or make some new ones.
So come hang with us
Drive on out to the country.
and get that epic snap.
No matter what you're looking for, come discover where legends are made.
Our guest today is a prominent Native Hawaiian educator from the Moku o Keawe. He is a cultural practitioner and advocate for ʻike Hawaii and cultural revitalization. Many of us first came to know him during the movement to protect Mauna Kea, as he became one of the prominent leaders who helped organize and guide the kiaʻi on Mauna Kea, helping ground the movement in ʻike Hawaii, protocol, and aloha. His work today focuses on strengthening identity, restoring traditional values, and helping communities live Hawaiian culture as a daily practice rather than a performance. He has worked on Apple TV's hit series Chief of War and as a Hawaiian language advisor and Jason Momoa's personal language teacher. He also hosts a podcast all in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi called Mai Ka Pūnana Mai. Beyond the movement, he's also a father, a mentor, and even a youth soccer coach. Someone trying to pass values to the next generations, not just in words, but in daily life. I am truly honored and so stoked to talk stories with him today. He is Kaho'okahi Kanuha. Aloha, Kaho'okahi. Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast.
Aloha nui kaua, kamaka, mahalo ke la ho'olauna ana.
Mahalo ya oi, I'm so stoked.
Ai, kalalua ia, he, mau manawa ka ho'a'o ana e a leila o kia pāka wā
Ai, no, ku pono ka manawa. Mahalo no ka hele ana mai I kia la nui na mea e, kama ilio. I'm, somebody who saw you first on the Mauna, and I just thought you were so cool. Like, I was
You're the
thinking,
first person who's ever said that.
your kids will say that one day, especially when you got those grail of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, dang, why was I thinking he was so cool? Why do I have this like, I put him on this pedestal? And I think because in my generation we didn't have too many kumu ho'ohalike growing up. I mean, they were out there, but social media wasn't around until we were adults. So, the Haunani Trask, the Walter Riddies, like I know the names, but I didn't know them. But seeing you, Pua K, those people that were shown all the time, those were like the superheroes, before it was BJ Penn for me growing up in Hilo. So I'm like, dang, these are like the Kanakas, like vouching for us and advocating for us. So I just thought, you were what you were doing. And, I've been following you since then. I just thought like, dang, this guy's the man. So I'm really excited for this episode. I've had guests with millions of followers, 100,000 of followers, and just people with no social media. And out of all the people, I was really stoked just to talk stories with you. So mahalo nui no kia launa.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mahalo nui.
All right. So, as you know, we're speaking English on this podcast. So, hiki ke ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, kilame kia manawa, but all in Hawaii, English. And people ask me like, oh, why don't you have an episode in Hawaiian? And I said, that's way too many subtitles. You know all about that, and we can get into that. So props to you on that. I got so many things to just praise you on, especially now when I see you with your keiki and, ripping the Pokemon cards. Yeah. But before I get too poragi, let me revert it back to you. And I just want to know your whole life story, mai kinohi mai. Where are you from? Where are you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Hi. Well, again, aloha, mahalo nui, keia. From Kona, Hawaii, Kailua Kona. Born in Kealakekua, raised in Holualoa. My parents helped start the Pūnana Leo in Kona in 1994. So I was very, very fortunate to be a part of the first class of Pūnana Leo Kona. And very, very fortunate to be born in 1989 and not 1988. Because if I was just 1 year older, I would have been too old. The Pūnana Leo would have came out a year older. I wouldn't have been in. And I would never have had a space in Kula Kaiapuni, and I wouldn't have had the opportunity that I had to learn ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi at such a young age. So very fortunate to that, super grateful to my makua, who in that time, where maybe I think consciousness wasn't as high as it is today, and not that our consciousness is where it needs to be today. We have a lot of, room to make up for still, but I think it's definitely higher today than it was back in the late 80s. And so I just feel super fortunate that my parents, who were not like politically active or involved in activism or even like in any kind of like language or cultural revitalization, they made the decision to, group together with other makua in the community to call for a Pūnana Leo. Obviously, we were able to make that happen. And so started at Pūnana Leo Kona, which is where I learned to ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Developed a real comfortability, I think, with speaking Hawaiian, which is different from accuracy. I'm a Kaiapuni kid and a second language learner, and I've gone through the struggle and continue to go through the struggle of trying to clean up my ʻŌlelo and make it as accurate as I can. But that's always given me a level of fluency where I feel comfortable speaking ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And so I went to Kula Kaiapuni. It's Ehunui Kaimalino now in Kona, but when I was there, it was called Ke Kula Kaiapuni Hawaiʻi o Kona. And I went there through 6th grade. And in 6th grade, I was accepted into Kamehameha Schools. And so from 7th to 12th grade, I boarded. I graduated from Kapalama, class of 2007 and a half.
And a half?
Yeah.
What's the half?
The half is the summer school session I had to go to after my senior year. I didn't get to walk at Kamehameha. I had one failing grade in physics, in science. Had some pretty bad experiences in that class. And so like a day or like 2 days before graduation, I was called in to my teacher's office and told that I wasn't going to graduate. I had no clue that I was in any kind of, that there's like a chance that it wasn't a conversation, it wasn't even a thought, until there was nothing that could be done about it. And that's my fault, you know what I mean? So it's a lesson, do things right the first time. Don't expect second chances. We're appreciative when you have them. Yeah. But, so that was a kind of a learning lesson for me. So I had to go to high school. I had to go to summer school, which was like the most embarrassing thing because I was supposed to have graduated and I'm sitting in the class with these juniors who are becoming seniors and they're probably wondering, what is this donkey doing in here? Like, wasn't he supposed to graduate a month ago? So that was like a life lesson. Wow. Yeah, I definitely don't want to have to go through that again. And so, but even though I didn't graduate, I was still lucky to be accepted to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And when I was getting ready to go to Manoa, there was never any consideration of going anywhere outside of Hawaii. It wasn't even a thought. I think when I was younger, I had contemplated, especially when you're growing up and I watch football and basketball, huge Laker fan, like the 49ers.
Okay.
When I was growing up, USC,
Yeah.
you know, Reggie Bush,
Yeah,
them,
that was
and
my
they were like,
favorite
it was a hit.
That's why I'm a
You know,
Saints fan.
Yeah, so like I had those kinds of experiences, and maybe when I was younger, I thought about going to places like that. But as I got older, really in high school, in 10th grade, I decided that I knew what I wanted to do beyond high school, which was become a kumu ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. So anyway, I guess from there I went to the University of Hawaii Manoa, and I had the choice between Hawaiian language or Hawaiian studies. Like that was all I was gonna do. And being young, being naive, maybe ignorant, stupid, I was like, I'm a keiki kaiapuni. Like I took ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi at Kamehameha, and hike o ke ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Pa'aka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi ia'u. So I should go Hawaiian studies. And so I majored in Hawaiian studies, but within my first semester, or maybe it was into the end of the first semester, the beginning of the second semester, one of my classmates was working at Pūnana Leo, Honolulu. And she was like, we were in Makahiki Ekolu that first year, and she was like, hey, like, you should work at Pūnana Leo. And I was like, hey, like, I've been wanting to work at a Hawaiian language school, but I just got out of high school. Like, I don't have degrees and these these certificates or whatever. I said, oh, no need. So I got involved with Pūnana Leo, and just through that experience of continuing to go through classes at UH Manoa with teachers like, Keawe Lopes and Kaliko Baker, Puakea Nogomeyer, Keauni Smith, Kekeha Solis, Lalepa Koga.
Wow.
And then my experiences at Pūnana Leo with, people like Larry Kimura, Kawanoi Kamana, Pilo Wilson, and these other kumu who had been there for a while, who had been there since the time that I was a haumana. I learned pretty quickly, like, okay, no, ʻaʻole pāka ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi ia'u. I can ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi, but I cannot
ʻōlelo
Hawaiʻi.
Yeah, there's levels for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And so that's when I decided that I was gonna double major, and so I was Hawaiian studies and Hawaiian language. Did that, and throughout all of that time, I was working at Pūnana Leo. I started at Pūnana Leo Honolulu as a substitute, and then the following year, I was what we call it, a kako'okumu, like a teacher's aide. And then 2 years later, I became a kumu, which is an assistant teacher. And then the following year, I was offered the kumu position, the lead teacher position at Pūnana Leo Koeha'o. And so I was working there. Eventually, Koeha'o closed. We opened up Pūnana Leo Manoa, which is still there right across from the university. And then in 2013, I was in my 6th year of college doing my undergrad.
Oh, so we were at UH at the same time then?
There's probably an overlap, yeah.
I went there in 2011.
I was there not too often, not as often as I should have been. But I was also, and one of the things that I struggled with in college is that like, I was working at Pūnana Leo, and like I was doing what I was going to college to be able to do. And so really college for me took a back seat to I've always been passionate about my work as a teacher, even with just, little kids. There's a lot that you can do with them that people don't realize, People forget sometimes that preschoolers are not dogs. They're actually human beings. They're very, very intelligent, and they're super capable of doing anything that we support them to be able to do. And so anyway, I was working there. I don't know where I'm going with this story. I think I just lost my train of thought. But that's where I've been for a long time. Pūnana Leo, I've continued to work with Pūnana Leo. I did leave for a year. I taught at Ehunui Kaimolino, 6th, 7th grade, ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, social studies, and English, which was cool. I got to teach English as a content area, but through ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi.
Oh, nice.
So I guess those are kinds of the experiences that that's like my life story, I guess.
Yeah,
And then one day, we ended up on Mauna Kea, and life kind of took a crazy turn.
And this has been crazy busy ever since.
Aye.
So when you were growing up, Makogo Bakamali'i, were you playing sports? Because I know you seem pretty active. You're coaching. You said you watch a lot of sports. Were you, doing all the sports growing up, all the AYSOs, the Pop Warners, whatever?
Soccer. Started with soccer. Basketball, baseball, I started to play football, Pop Warner, and it was a funny thing because I wanted to be a receiver. My brother wanted to be a quarterback. And on the days of the tryouts, my brother had all kind of blisters on his feet from that. He couldn't practice, and so I tried out for quarterback, and I got the position.
Oh, no way.
And then, like, after the first practice of being the quarterback, I decided I was playing Tony Hawk.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Remember Tony Hawk
Tony
with the
Hawk Pro
N64?
Skater, yeah.
That thing made me think I could do crazy stuff on a skateboard. So stupid. I went to a skate park. My friend invited me to a skate park. Never rode a skateboard in my life. Went down like a 10-foot ramp on the first thing. Hit the bottom, fell over, broke my wrist. Football is done. So never played organized football again.
Wow, Tony Hawk. I didn't know
yeah.
you did that to kids.
It was eyebrows. I thought I was gonna be busting airs, and I thought I was gonna be busting like 360s, and I mean,
yeah, you just
it was
floated in the air for like 20 seconds in that spinning.
Delusional that game made me.
Great soundtrack. One of the greatest soundtracks
Great
I
game.
remember from growing up.
And so, and then paddling. You know, hoi wa'a. My great grandfather is one of the founders of Kaho'okahi Kanuha Club
wow.
in Kona. So my family has always been a part of paddling. Always been a part of that club. When I was a kid, like just as much as I knew who Steve Young and Jerry Rice was, and Garrison Hurst and Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens and all these players of the 49ers and Kobe and Shaq on the Lakers and all these things, I knew who Kai Bartlett was, and I knew who Mike Judd was, and I knew who the Foti brothers were, and I knew, you know, Tibert Lucia'a and Nate Hendricks and Masepa Tanoai and my cousin Nui, Kai Kahawa Neo, and I mean all these different. Like I was into paddling, and my skill level in paddling may not reflect like the passion and the love that I have for it, but it's always been, it's the one thing in my life that I've always done and never stopped doing.
Wow.
And so, you know, I've paddled since I was 8 years old, special events, always with Kaio'opua. And now I'm the men's head coach at Kaio'opua as well. Started coaching soccer for my keiki, but not because I'm good at soccer. I stopped playing when I was like 10 years old. But, you know, my kids growing up and they wanted to try soccer. And like for me, I raised my keiki all in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Okay. And when I say like all in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, that means like I do everything I can to keep English out of their life.
Yeah.
And we can talk about maybe like that a little bit later, like why and stuff like that. But it was just going to be my oldest kid's first experience, like an immersion in an English setting and environment. And so I just wanted to make sure that he was comfortable, that he wasn't, you know, maybe struggling from a language barrier, because I've never heard my kid speak English in my life. I know that he can because it's all over us. They're picking it up, right? But I've never heard him speak English in my life. So when I signed him up, I was like, hey, there's a question, you know, are you willing to help coach? And I marked yes, thinking that I will help coach language, you know, not soccer. That I would be there. I can be an assistant, right? And I can be a buffer for my keiki. So if there's ever a language barrier, I can make sure that
some
he's
Lihimui oranges at halftime, maybe.
You know, team dad, you know. But there wasn't enough coaches to have two teams, and my kid is brand new, never played any sport before, and it's a club soccer, so it's competitive. These kids are good, you know. So he wasn't going to be on that team, and so they reached out and said, hey, you know, we don't have enough coaches for two teams, but we saw that you were willing to coach, and if you were willing to coach, then we could have another team. We'd have a spot for your kid and this and that. So it's like, okay, will someone help me? Like, yeah, we'll have a real coach with you, someone who actually knows what they're doing. They'll help and they'll be there, but we just need somebody that can be the representative for the team. And so, you know, now we're all in. I still suck at soccer, but the kid loves it. And on my team, we have 8 players and 6 of them go to Ehunui.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I mean,
so you can ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi.
I mean, you hear me talk ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi more than you hear me talk English.
Wow.
Because the majority do. So like all the drills, you know, makokau, oia, you know, I mean, you know, TikToks, we call it upeku peku, and then the toe taps, you know, pana pana mana mana, like, so they start to pick up those things. And it's been, you know, it's been really, really fun. It's provided my keiki with a community of friends, a lot of classmates, and I get to see these kids who are, for the most part, only have the opportunity to ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi in school, and now they get to utilize it in real life, which is the barrier that a lot of us always hit as language learners, is like, where is that environment outside of a classroom? So it's been really, it's been super fun, and we got our first game for the second season coming up next week.
Oh,
so
right on.
I love it.
Lucky Makai.
Aye.
That's so interesting that you said that, you know, you want to create that environment, and that's a barrier that stops us. Because that's exactly what it was like for me growing up.
Like for us, you know what I mean?
For us, it's yeah, and you know, probably just all the Kaiapuni kids know, ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi ma ke kula, ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi wale no mai namu haole, mai namu haole. You get, you know, in front of the teacher, I'll be talking to you like this, and then the teacher comes, oh yeah, no laila, makila, havina epikema, and then as soon as they leave, oh yeah, right to haole, and then, you know, I play sports. Everyone in the community speaks English. So it's like, why do I want to learn Hawaiian? Nobody speaks Hawaiian. I speak Hawaiian at home with my dad. I don't speak with my siblings. He's just like the kumu. You know, it's like as soon as dad leaves, namu haole with the siblings.
And I think that's what it's an important thing to realize, like as a community, whether it's parents or just community members, like, you know, majority of our language learners are in Kaiapuni. We have 4,000 Kaiapuni students
now. It's amazing.
Which is huge. Like, just a few years ago, it was like in the 2,000 range. It's continuously going up.
At Navahi, it was a couple hundred only. It wasn't even in the thousands.
The numbers are high now. And so like a majority, I would think of, there's university students, but really like the learning pathways are education, Kaiapuni and university. There's some community classes, but for the most part, those are the options. And so I think that like, and you would know, I know, like those of us who went through it as kids, especially, like the pathway can be a little lonely, and it can be a struggle because you're dealing with like you're trying to speak a language that is like not socially used, and especially as kids, like I think as you get older, you know, maybe we feel more comfortable like being ourselves and like standing out. But I think for the most part, like kids are trying to fit in with each other. You know, they want to be a part of a community. They want to feel a part of something. And so when there's no language in that community, they're going to be drawn to English. It's how they can connect with their friends and their parents and their grandparents and their aunties and their uncles, their cousins. So I think it's really important that we provide these spaces, not just where they can use it, but where people are using it and they feel comfortable using it. And we not expect kids to like be these, I would love for them to be, but we can't expect kids to like be these social activists. And we have those cases, right? You know, like I know like Kalehua Krug, who you've talked to before, like he said one of his daughters, you know, do you talk English to her? Is she not talking back? But he would also like, you know, recognize that that's not necessarily the norm. Yeah. So I think it's important that as a community, whether you're speakers or non-speakers, if this is something that you care about and that you would like to see happen, we have a kuleana to be very, very supportive of these kids and to do everything that we can to not make it any harder for them to learn and normalize ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, because the truth is it's hard enough already. And so, you know, like when we talk about things like okina and the kahako and things like that, like there's ways that we can support these learners so that Hawaiian language can be a living, functioning, social language, which for me and like the places that I work in, like that's the goal, you know? So whatever chance we have and whatever chance I get to be supportive of that and whatever chance we as a community have to be supportive of that, I think we need to take it and give it all we got. Yeah,
amazing. So going back one final time, did your parents ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi? Because they helped open up the school.
The last really like native speakers in my family were my great-grandparents. And they were alive. Like my great-grandfather was 11 years old when he signed the Ku'e petition. So that's like the last generation of speakers. I hear from my dad and my uncles that my grandfather and, you know, his siblings, that they could ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And that's where we get to like that common story of they would talk to each other, but if the kids were around, they wouldn't. But my dad and my uncle have told me stories about like, you know, the times that they heard my grandpa and his brother talking ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi was, a lot of times it was around a va'a, around a canoe. So And my grandpa, who is the last pure Hawaiian in my family, he passed away when my dad was only 13 years old. So there's that gap, that a lot of us deal with. Either it's that physical where we didn't get our grandparents, or our grandparents didn't have the ʻike passed down to them, and so there's this gap that we're trying to bridge. So it wasn't anything that was ever passed down to my dad. My mom is a haole woman from Washington, and she was like a lot of families, she's the organizer of the house, and she was like the driving force to get us involved in that. And so I've asked them before, like, why, like, and not like why did you do that? You shouldn't have, like, mahalo, but like why? Like, what was, again, different time, different consciousness. And for my mom, it's just like it made sense. Like, you're Hawaiian, you live in Hawaii, you should be able to speak Hawaiian. Simple as that. And so that's like really their connection to it. But both my parents, especially my mom, like with my kids, they don't ʻŌlelo haole to them. And my kids are getting older, and so they're rapping a lot quicker. Their vocabulary is growing, right? And so it's tough for my parents to keep up with that. But they use ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi as much as possible. I've never heard my mom talk English to my kids. I've never heard my kids talk English to my mom. I know it happens at times like that. My dad will use, he'll talk his best pidgin, and he'll use Hawaiian words. Oh, you went kula. Oh, kula, mai kai kula. Yeah, good. Oh, mai kai, yeah. Oh, kula cool. You ma'i again, you ma'i. Like, he'll use the words as much as possible.
That's a great start for families.
And that's the thing is, like, you don't have to be fluent in Hawaiian to be supportive and support Hawaiian speakers. Like, my thing for my family is, like, if my kids can just feel comfortable talking to you in Hawaiian, right? And you can talk back in English, and maybe they'll talk back in English, but if they feel comfortable talking to you in Hawaiian, like, it's a huge level of, like, success. Like, because even for me, like, as someone who is passionate about this, my mom will, she's all in, like, she's trying, and so, like, she doesn't tell me I love you anymore. She's like, aloha waya oi, brother. And she'll tell me, aloha waya oi, ahiki ki aloha ʻāina hope loa. And she'll, like, use things like that. And for a while, it was like, it was a little weird for me to be, oh yeah, love you too, mom. Because, like, that's what our relationship was built on. Yeah. Right? And so, like, when you were talking, like, to talk to your dad in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, it might be weird. If you bring on one of your kumu from Kulakaiapuni and you got to have this conversation with them in English, it's going to be really, really weird. Because, like, it almost feels like not real. That's not the connection. Language is like the binding cord of our relationship. So to be able to establish that in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, and where maybe one day, when they are speaking English, like, that sounds a little bit weird. Like, to me, that's a huge success, because it's a huge hurdle to overcome and to overturn. If me and you are best friends and we've been talking English together for how long, it's gonna be difficult for us to overturn that, no matter how much we care about it. And it doesn't mean that we can't do it, but for those first weeks or months or maybe year or years, like, it's gonna, even if we do ʻŌlelo, it's gonna feel weird. 100%. And so you have to be able to push through that to build normalcy. So to be able to start with normalcy rather than have to reverse it, I'm very, very appreciative of that. And I think that those are things that all of us can do. Just whatever you can do it. And if it's this is better than nothing. And if it's this, well, that's even better than this. But whatever it is, ho'a'o, try.
O ka ho'a'o ka mea nui, that's what I say. And ho'okuluma, that's a good word to know. Normalize. It's so awesome just to hear you talk about all of this, because, like, we can relate to so much of it. I mean, you're at a way higher level because you're still in that kaya ulu, that kaya puni. For me, I just have my dad, and if I see speakers here and there, I don't use Hawaiian as much as you do. But I love that you're going on the same path that my dad did with us and my mom, when they were together. She worked at Halekua Mo'o e Keiki Kawaiʻai. My dad, he learned after high school. He's not even Hawaiian. He's Portuguese, Japanese. way too poragi if you watch the last episode. Last episode right before this was 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh shit.
Oh my gosh. Aloha Hawaiʻi.
Which was probably a short conversation, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I told people it's like when you're at KTA, you're just like at the grocery store and sometimes you're just tired. Maybe after soccer practice, you went there just to get a Gatorade. And you just want to go home, and your dad sees somebody and he's just talking, and you're like, please, can we just go? Yeah. And he just keeps going and going.
That's what it story of my lifetime. After paddling practice, we gotta go KTA first. Yeah. And I'm in my wet shorts and my towel, and I'm freezing, and Dad runs into a friend, and okay, we'll be here for another 15 minutes.
But I love seeing that. I called my dad right before this because I asked him if he could leave a question for you and for the social media questions. I haven't even seen it yet because I was busy running around getting Pokemon before this. I was saying, watching you, it reminds me of my time growing up with my siblings and my dad doing that. Because my dad only speaks Hawaiian to us from the day we were born. The only time he would speak English to us if there's like somebody around and he's trying to like include them into the conversation. But he would Hawaiianize things. Like we grew up thinking waleka was a word for wallet, and like we would say that in Kai Pūnana, like, what are you saying? They're like waleka. But he would do things like that. And we grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons, all of these things, just like how you do the Pokemana with your kids. He would be making up like Opio ano e ninja honu, Opio ano e ninja honu, Opio ano e ninja honu, honu maka hapakua hapa, honu mana, something like that. And then all those things. So I'm just like, I feel like watching you with your kids is like me watching like old videos of me and my siblings with my dad, because he was a home video guy. All our soccer games, all our whatever at home. He got videos of us like no kia ke komu makola woho wahana oi kia ya oi iho I and like stuff like that. There's old videos of us just like yapping in Hawaiian. So it's so cool seeing that, and I think that's why I'm even more drawn to the things that you post, because I'm just like, dang, this is what it was like for my dad growing up, and it's just so cool to see that.
And it's like something that our kupuna went through, right? Like we were isolated for so long, and then all of a sudden we have these influences coming in, and we're experiencing and interacting with these foreign objects or foreign ideas for the first time ever, but through the lens of people who have only seen this and only know this. And so that's been like one of the important lessons of like raising my keiki in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, is that you don't have English as a crutch. Like when things cannot be explained in Hawaiian or cannot be articulated, like you can't just be like, oh, like pakokau, table, pakokau. Like there is no English for it. We're experiencing it for the first time. So like because my keiki don't speak English, like I feel like I need to interact with this world the way that they would be able to interact with this world. So that's why we name everything in Hawaiian, because like I've always kind of I tried to like things like Pokemon, or like these, not that Pokemon was a thing like when I first started developing these thoughts, but just like these outside influences. At first I wanted to like keep them away because it's not Hawaiian. But like I think that the Hawaiian world today is very different. The geography of the Hawaiian world today is very different than what it was back in the time of our kupuna. Like I think before social media and internet, like the Hawaiian world was Hawaii, right? From Mai Hawaii a Kauai. Now the Hawaiian world is like the globe, because social media, internet, TV, all of these types of things, they're all a part of our world. And so if we don't, my opinion is this, right? Like if we don't learn and we're not able to interact with these things through Hawaiian lens or through Hawaiian language, then we're either going to be dominated by these things into English, or we're going to do like what I used to think we would do, was like build this barrier between us and these things. But again, then we go back to like kids, like this is what our community is doing. Whether it's Pokemon or whether it's a movie or Mario Kart or whatever the things may be, because we have all kinds of activities that we do at home too. But like like we need to be able to interact with these things, right? And so like I think about like when Captain Cook came, right? And now Hawaiians are seeing a gun for the first time. What do we call it? Right? Like what process did our kupuna go through to name this new object that we haven't seen? And so Kamakau writes, that like when Hawaiians are meeting with Cook them for the first time and they show them how to use a gun and what a gun is, Hawaiians call it a waiki. And why? Because, okay, if I'm going to show you what a gun is, and I'm these Hale guys on a ship, I'm probably not going to shoot down to the floor. If I'm smart, I'm not going to shoot one human because these Hawaiians going to bust me up. So I'll shoot into the water, right? And you shoot into the water and like waikiki, like waiki. Oh, hey, waiki can.
Wow.
Right? And so like that's one way that our kupuna would interact with these new things, right? Based on its function or its physical characteristics, right? Okay, we can give it a name. You have other instances where you can, just like the more common one, if you look at the Baibala, which is full of it. I remember one time coming across in the newspapers this word, konikiliki. I'm like, what the hell is konikiliki? Can't find it in the dictionary, can't find it anywhere. And it's just this one word in this long, and like, what is this word? And then, concrete.
Oh.
Concrete.
Konikiliki.
Okay, so Hawaiians just took the sound, right? Iosepa, right? I mean, all these different names. Took the sound and like Hawaiianized it. It's another way that we can do it. And then over time, we begin to get, we start to have a little bit of literacy, or maybe not, but we have literacy in English. We have knowledge of English. There's these bilingual abilities, right? And so you start to understand English, and then when it works out, you can translate in a sense, right? So like someone who I am not a fan of at all, Richard Armstrong, the father of the English Mainly campaign and the father of American education in Hawaii. What was he called in Hawaiian? Lima ikaika. Right? So like we have examples that have been left to us by our kupuna on how we can interact with these foreign or new ideas and still have them, if not be Hawaiian, fit into Hawaii, and that we are in control. We have agency over how we interact with these things versus them kind of dominating the way that we think. So like that's why like every Pokemon it has a Hawaiian name or a Hawaiian sounding name as much as possible, because it doesn't make sense for me to just be like, oh yeah, it means, I don't have the English ability with them to like, oh, this is what it is. That'd be the easy way out. But the ability to just like continuously, because we're going to face that like throughout life, right? We're going to have these new things, whether it's a social media, what is the word for this and what is the word for that. And I'm not a proponent of, oh, it's not a Hawaiian thing, so just use the English word. Because there's most things in our Hawaiian world today are not originally Hawaiian. And if that's the philosophy that we take, then even if you speak ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, you're going to be using English words 50% of the time. And I don't think that's reflective of a living language. And I don't think it's reflective of the ability and the functionality that ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi has.
For sure. Yeah. I think, if there's people that have been watching this podcast for a while, we've had people like Cal Neesmith, who's super, again, he's very opinionated, like, don't use diacriticals, whatever. Don't say la mai kai. Don't say kuana ʻike. I come from the academia side of like the lexicon committee. The people like Hila, Kamana, those are the people who essentially taught us. So I understand the importance of it, and I don't agree one is better than the other. I think they both have a place in but now I forget where I was going with this. What was I saying?
The agreeability with the different perspectives on
the different perspectives. Dang it. Okay. And then so how we Hawaiianize things. My dad used to he was around these quote unquote manaleos, I know that's another word that Cal doesn't like to use. But he was telling these stories, and if you haven't watched the last episode, just skip to like the 2 hour mark and you'll find it somewhere. He was talking about these kupuna and they're native speakers, they would kind of play with the Hawaiian or like kind of Hawaiianize, where he would be like something you're like, oh no ke kole, like when the conversation was good, like that was really tasty and whatever, and then they'll keep bouncing back saying all kinds of different things, and then when the example he used was when he was talking, they were talking about like they don't want to call their families somewhere else because it's like they charge you more for like long distance calls or whatever, and they'll be like something kumoki money or something, and he's like, what, kumoki money, what does that mean? And they were saying like too much money.
Yeah.
So even like the kupuna back then, that's one example. I don't know if everybody did it. They also like Hawaiianized and played on words.
I mean,
Kalipa.
Yeah, I mean, and then like again, you go back to different examples.
Yeah.
Kelepona, okay, Hawaiianized sound. Lolo uila, functionality, right?
Yeah.
Like physical characteristics or whatever the case would be. So like, we have these examples.
Yeah.
They're lahaloa, and even like I'm not always a huge fan of the new lexical items. These the new words that are created. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm also not like a huge opponent of it. I think it's well intentioned. I think like everything else, like just like me, like there's flaws to the things that we do. But I would much rather, again, interact with these words. I think the idea of perpetuating upon our keiki that like we have to utilize English words, I think that limits the functionality of language. And if you're gonna use so much English within that, it's so like I think for most people they're gonna be like, why wouldn't I just continue to speak English, right? So, and I also think like when we talk about I know you didn't ask, but I'm gonna just like when we talk about okina and kahako and things like that, like for the most part, and I'm not here to say that like one is right or one is wrong. This is my opinion based on my experiences. But when you look at, because most times I hear like, oh, our kupuna never wrote like that, right? Our kupuna never wrote like that. Okay, well, have you looked at the newspapers? Like for the first 20 years, our kupuna like also were not really using periods. They weren't using question marks. They weren't using quotations. Like, so do we not use quotations now when we write? Do we not use question marks? Do we just run sentences for 3 paragraphs before we put a period in it? We have to remember that like the Hawaiian spelling system alphabet was institutionalized in 1822. Spelling book comes out in 1824. First Hawaiian language newspapers come out in 1834. So in 1834, when we start printing newspapers, literacy has been a thing for 12 years. Like, what did English look like when it was 12 years old? What did these other ancient languages look like when they were 12 years old versus what they look like in the 1900s or in the 2000s, 2026? So we have to remember that what we see in the newspapers was the birth and infancy stages of Hawaiian language, of Hawaiian literacy. And if you compare what you see in newspapers in the 1830s, and you check at the 1850s, and you look into the 1870s, and then you look into the 1890s, and you look into the 1910s and the 1920s, into the 1940s and 1948 when it finishes, you see a development and a progression of language. You see different writing styles. You see our kupuna start to utilize these dashes in between words to clarify that there is an okina here, or there is a long sound here, because this word could be taken 3 or 4 different ways, right? And so I think that's an important point. Like there's a development, and I would bet anything that if literacy was not kidnapped from us, through denationalization and Americanization, institutionally, I would bet anything that our kupuna would have ended up in the system that we're in, because written language is meant to reflect spoken language. And when I speak, I don't get to not use okina or kahako. My name is Kaho'okahi Kanuha, right? There's an okina in there. I make that decision. I could say Kaho'okahi, right? But I say Kaho'okahi, right? So when you speak, you are making a decision as to whether or not there is an okina or kahako in there. And if written language is meant to reflect spoken language, then you'd have to make that decision as well. So as a writer, the easy way out is to not put okina and kahako. And I think about Kamakau, who wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles and spent thousands and thousands of hours. I think about people like John Papa I'i, who left us these this tremendous account of his life and story in the time of Kamehameha. I think about Joseph Moku Ohai Poi Poi, who's running Kana'iaupuni newspaper with an apostrophe in Kana'iaupuni. We don't have an Okina yet. We don't have the type. Again, technology. We don't even have the ability to make these marks. It's not that we we don't have the ability. There wasn't the technology to put a kahako over a letter. There's no technology. We didn't have the font for an Okina, but we had an apostrophe. So he puts an apostrophe in Kana'iaupuni. And when he's running Kana'iaupuni, he is writing the serial story of Kamo'olelo o Kamehameha. Yeah, Kaliono Kapaki Pika. And this thing goes on for article after article after article after article. And in the very next page of that same newspaper, he's writing the mo'olelo, the serial mo'olelo of Kamo'olelo hi'ake kapolio pele. And you're going to tell me that, like, he didn't have a specific idea of what these words meant, that Joseph Moku Ohai Poi Poi was like, I'm just going to purposely make this confusing so that in 2026, maybe Kaho'okahi Kanuha can make a decision for me as to what my intentionality was here. Like, I don't think that's accurate. I think our kupuna knew exactly what they're saying. They knew exactly why they were saying it. And the only reason why we have to make guesses sometimes is because, one, we're separated from this because of, again, denationalization, Americanization. But then two, because we didn't have the technology to clarify exactly what it was they meant. But I don't think Joseph Moku Ohai Poi Poi thought, I'll just let Kaho'okahi Kanuha make a decision for me in 2026 after he's been separated from this thing for 120 years, right? And then we go back to, like, the struggle of Kaiapuni learners. Like, we're gonna expect, like, these little kids they're supposed to just know, right? Or, but you gotta listen to the Mauna Leo. I'd love to, but we don't have them out in our community. And I can go to ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, and we should go to ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Everybody should be using ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. But this idea that we're gonna put second graders in front of a computer and listen, hey, if you wanna know how to say this word, you gotta go listen to the Mauna Leo. Tell me, why is that? How is that gonna work? That's not, in a college classroom, there's more discipline, you're an adult, you've chosen to take this pathway. Most kids in Kaiapuni did not make that choice. They've been put in there by parents, right? And I think most kids who go through Kaiapuni deal with, like, an internal conflict of wanting to leave sometimes because there's, whether it's the sports or the facilities or the size of the school and where your friends are because you play with them in sports and they go to English school, and, like, it's a struggle, right? It's lonely. And so, again, if we can provide like a mechanism that allows Hawaiian language to be more clear to our people, then our people learn more. If our people learn it more and learn it better, they use it more. And so one day when we get to the idea of, like, we have a functioning living language and we can, like, literally base the way we speak off of what we hear, great. Maybe at that point in time, if you wanted to make changes, you could. But I don't, the Okina and the Kahako reflect how we actually speak, right? And the point of communication, when I'm talking to you, the number one objective that I have is that you understand what I'm saying, that you receive the message. That's the point of communication. I say something, you receive it, you understand it, you comprehend it. And if there's things that we can do, and again, that I feel confident our kupuna would have done to ensure and enhance that that clarity, that's the point of communication. Why wouldn't we do it? Why make learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi is hard enough as it is? Why choose to make it harder for our keiki?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I wish on the podcast I let my guests speak, so I don't push back a lot. So, like, on the the episodes that I have people who say that, I don't push back. I use diacriticals in all our captions. I'm always, if the editor doesn't get the Okina in Hawaii, I'm always like, I don't even want to post this because that's important to me. That's important. And
it's one of the most mispronounced words in Hawaii.
Exactly, Ohana, the Okina on Hawaii. Ohana. Well, that's one of the big ones too. Is it is important because it can change the entire word if there's no kahako, if there's no Okina, and, like, when people mispronounce things, and I know it's if I'm speaking Greek, I'm gonna mispronounce things. I don't know. I understand that, if you're not familiar with it, you mispronounce it. If you grow up hearing kawaii, you're gonna say kawaii.
And people think that it's like it's not wrong. Like it could be either or.
Yeah.
Like
there is one correct way, and I think it's just on us to, be uncomfortable at first, like for me, like I know how things should be said, how things should be written. I mean, we're docked on everything, grammar growing up. So I have like PTSD if I don't put in okina or kahako. For other people who are learning, I think like Keawe said, it's training wheels. But I mean, when we're first learning to ride a bike, we use training wheels. Not all of us just ride a bike for the first time.
And I love Keawe. Yeah. And he's a kumu of mine, right? I mean, and I'd even consider him a friend. Like not that we hang out, but we've had our times together. But I disagree. I don't think it's training wheels. Yeah. I think the training wheels is on the rider. I don't have to choose. That's easier. But our kupuna said, "Ike keo nuia me keo wiki," right? Like we gotta see the big picture, and we gotta see the minute details. And the details are in the way that we say the word. And so I think okina and kahako, help us reflect that. But with all aloha for Keawe and anybody else, I don't agree with that. I think it's, as a writer, when I'm transcribing, with Awaiʻulu, and we're going through newspaper articles every single week, there are certain times where I like, is it kamaka imoku or is it kamaka imoku for ali'i? Is it kiawe kekahi ali'i okamoku or kiawe I kekahi ali'i okamoku? Is it lono ma'ai kanaka or is it lono ma'ai kanaka? Nah, Kaho'okahi, just choose. These are ali'i. And I'm not saying that we don't always know because we weren't there. We didn't hear these words pronounced. But we can, and everything that we do, like whether it's like, hey, what was life like back then and this and that, like, we don't know, right? We're all we can do right now is give our best, most informed guess. It's a guess, right? And we might determine in 10 or 20 years that guess was spot on, or that guess was crap, and we got to kick it to the side, and we're more informed now. But I'm losing my train of thought again. Totally losing my train of thought.
No, all the passion's coming out.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying.
It is also, guys, it is a Sunday. We're recording on a Sunday, end of the week. So it's a rare Sunday episode, just because he's here for the weekend. So even me, I'm just like, I'm not used to this, like we usually do episodes like Tuesday, Wednesdays in the middle of the week. You get things going, But anyways, to, I guess, kind of close out this, diacritical marks and, Hawaiianizing stuff, I'm okay with whatever works for people. Like if you don't want to use diacriticals, then don't have to. Hey, props to you if you don't, you can read the whole the Hawaiian Bible and you understand everything. You read the old newspapers and you understand everything. That just shows your skill of Hawaiian. But we're not there, where people need it. If there was an okina in Kapi'olani Boulevard, maybe people wouldn't be saying Kapi'olani Boulevard, and
because it could be Kapi'olani.
It could be Kapi'olani.
I mean, it makes sense.
Beretania
makes
Kunia,
sense. Makes just as much sense as Kapi'olani.
Yeah.
But guess what? Her name was Kapi'olani.
Yeah.
And I don't have the authority today to this. Nah. I think it's Kapi'olani. Because that makes sense. Makes sense. So I think Kapi'olani.
Yeah, Kapi'olani.
And there's other examples, right? I mean, obviously Pio versus Pio is a very different mana'o.
Yeah.
Okay, we wouldn't, right? But like, there's a lot of words that we have that. And again, I'm not saying that like, oh, if you when you go on Instagram and you write no okina no kako, you're a bad guy. Like, absolutely not. Like your personal stuff, like you can write however you like. I can choose to write in pidgin if I like, in English. I can choose to write in abbreviations in English. If I like, we have that personal autonomy. But I'm talking about like on a grand scale. Like if we're gonna publish things, if we're gonna produce things, if we're gonna put things on signage in public spaces, if we're gonna in our logos and our symbols, I think that we should be, again, utilizing a system that reflects spoken language and that provides clarity for the receivers of this information, because that's, I can, not that I ever would, but I can sound super good and sound so smart and do all these kinds of things and use all these big words, and if people are not understanding it, I'm wasting not only their time, but my time. The point of communication is to understand.
Yep.
And we have mechanisms that allow for that to happen at a much higher rate than it was, so that people like me don't have to spend 26 minutes or 26 hours or sometimes 26 years trying to figure out, how do we say this Ali'i's name? How do I say Mai Kupuna's name? My great-great-great-grandfather. How do I say his name? It'd be really cool to know. It would be really cool if there was something that I wouldn't have to guess, and even more importantly, that I wouldn't have to guess and get my kupuna's name wrong.
Yeah, because you know him Mauna Kea ʻŌlelo. You know, there's a lot of power in, you know, these words and the names. So that's why even I thought it was really cool. Te Tairoa McMillan, he won Rookie of the Year, and the mom said it's not Tet, it's Te Tairoa.
And Kavelo Konapiliahi.
Yeah, is that his middle name?
I think she did Te Tairoa.
I only saw the small
I think it was
clip.
Kavelo Konapiliahi.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that part.
She got the Hawaiian in there too.
Even because I've even heard growing up, like, don't say Cam School, Kamehameha.
Cam
like,
shops.
Because you like cut the name in half, and you know you cut half of the power, and like it.
I always say, Kamehameha is not Chinese. You know, that's what I heard people say. Aunties.
But it's that's what I appreciate so much from the Kulakai Puni, because even though I wasn't into it back then, it's all the things I remember, and all like the little things from, like, you know, if you're sitting like this and I step over you, I take your mana. So like
my oki piko.
Exactly.
And like those are things too that, like, when I went fishing with my grandma as a kid, she always told us, don't you dare step over that bamboo pole. Right? We go holo holo all the time. We go kamakoi, bamboo, catch kupipi, catch moano, catch some ahole hole. We'd get, you know, mamo and hagi, like, you know, all those kind of fish. We go with my grandma when we were kids. And I remember, if anybody, and when I mean anybody, most times it was my younger brother, it was Kawaii. I don't remember ever getting in trouble for this. I was a pretty good listener when I was a kid. Maybe not so good on Mauna Kea, but as a kid, I was a pretty good listener. And like, if my brother, sorry, Kawaii, if I did it too, I just remember you doing it. If my brother stepped over that pole, we're going home. Paul. Going home, and we're gonna hear it from Mama. Mama is gonna give us gas, right? And we're gonna go back down the next day again. But like, those are things that, like, are, you know, like real life, loina Hawaii. Yeah, that sometimes we don't realize are Hawaiian. Like, my grandma used to say palanayo all the time, palanayo, but she also used to say aisus, aisos. She used to say ai caramba. And she would say palanayo. Like, those are the things I remember her saying. Oh, aisus, palanayo. And even as a Hawaiian language speaker, like, I never knew palanayo was Hawaiian. I didn't know. I knew what it meant based on how she said it. Yeah. Oh, that guy's palanayo. Those people palanayo. Okay, yeah, that's like, you know, bouchette or whatever the case may be. Like, you know, good for nothing. You know, I didn't know it was Hawaiian until I was taking Kekeha Solis's class. At UH Manoa, Papa ʻŌlelo no Eau, and our ha'awina was we had to go through the entire Puke ʻŌlelo no Eau by Puku'i, and then I see in there, ahu vale ka palanayo. I was like, holy shit, my grandma, mama was talking Hawaiian to me. But there's like these things that a lot of times are preserved in our families that we don't know are Hawaiian, or we don't know where it comes from. Yeah, but like the phrase of like my oki piko, like there's a piko to these things, and we don't. You know, we don't cross over them. We don't step over them. And if someone walks over my feet when I'm sitting down, or, you know, whatever the case may be, and they just walk over me, you know, I have a problem with that. I find that extremely disrespectful. And that's the way that I was, you know, that's the way that I was raised. Yeah. Maybe not even knowing that it was Hawaiian.
Yeah. Even if these weren't just like, I'm doing it to be Hawaiian, these are just respectful things in general to do. I feel like, you know, like in general, even if you didn't know it was a loina Hawaii, like
don't walk over
you don't walk over people, So I think it's just very, you know, it's just too ho'ihi.
Lift my leg up and trip you.
Exactly. All right, so before we get into the shishi break, we'll be talking more about the Hawaiian stuff through the social media question, whatever. But I want to talk a little bit about that time on Mauna Kea, because that was probably one of like that would be in the history books. You know, it was one of like those historical events in our lifetime that really brought people together and showed unity. I remember I was in Madagascar when this happened because I was in the Peace Corps. I was finishing up my third year, 2019. I was living in the city, so I had a Wi-Fi at this time because third year volunteers, they get like a better setup. I remember waking up in the morning. It was a chilly morning. I see a video of people getting arrested. I see Uncle Skippy, Ioane, and I'm like, wow, that's my first grade teacher's husband. Like, I know these people. These are people in my community getting arrested. I got emotional. I recorded a video in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. I was crying. I posted it. If you guys go back 6 years, there's a video of me doing that. And I was like, dang, what made me super sad was I'm here in Madagascar helping these other people and, giving back. But my people are hurting and they need help and I can't be there. It's just like when my grandfather passed away when I was in the Peace Corps, when I first got there, and like I couldn't be there for my family. That was a hard part, is like, they need me. I mean, you guys, they literally don't need me, just Kamaka, but like as a collective,
we need each other.
You need each other. Yeah. So it was really hard seeing that. So, first thing I did when I came back to Hawaii was, Moku Keawe, I went over there. It already died down by then, but I was able to speak with some people and see what it was like. But
and this is the first one, 2016 time?
No, this 29. Okay, yeah, 2016. Okay. I remember seeing my friend Bronson Kobayashi. I remember.
Okay, Bronson.
I remember he was doing up there during that time. Yeah. I remember that time, but I left to Peace Corps in 2016. Okay. So all these were just little snippets. I knew about it. 2019 is really when it escalated. And I had social media. 2016 to 2018, I barely could see anything. It was probably celebrities came down. People were making videos. You were one of the leaders of it. That's when I first saw you. I remember Mauna Kea, Jamaica, Pua, Havana, all these people that I've just like became the and lack of better words, just like the Haunani Trask in my eyes of our generation. So that's just a little context on this, but you can share more about like what that time was. There could be people watching that don't even know what it was, but it was national, it was international. Yeah, it was huge.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
How it, how much attention it got and how far it spread. I'm always hesitant to talk about Mauna Kea because like one of the important things is it's not done. Like it's 2-0 ku kiaʻi Mauna, we're up 2-0. They tried 2 times and we beat them twice. So we're winning, but the game is not over, right? And so it's hard to talk about a lot of the things about Mauna Kea. But I mean, like, what I can say is like, what a time. It was, what can I say about it? I think that it's a good reflection and a good reminder to us, like how much power we have. Yeah. And, I think about in ʻŌlelo Noʻeau, which really was like kind of what guided my approach to Mauna Kea was like, ia liʻi no ke aliʻi ke kanaka. Yeah. The chief is the chief because of the people. And just because the chief is the chief at one point in time doesn't mean the chief can be the chief forever. The chief is only the chief as long as the people allow the chief to be the chief. So, like, the idea is like we have power, right? When we organize, when we're unified, when we're committed, when we're informed and educated, we have power. This is at this point in time now, it's a $2.4 billion project on Mauna Kea, right? But, I mean, our lands have been... We're allowed to swear on this show.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
there's no rules, yeah.
Like, I mean, our lands have, like... That's like the scariest thing is, like, we can bring back language, we can bring back culture and practices and stuff like that. But what they did to Kaho'olave, we cannot reverse. What they're doing to Pohakuloa, we cannot reverse. Like, I mean, we can make it better, but like if there's depleted uranium in the ground, what can we do with that? You know, and like Mauna Kea, right? You know, and you know, Haleakala as well. But like Mauna Kea, like these telescopes are on leases. These leases are almost over. I've been out of it for a while. I think it's 2031 or 2033 that these leases expire. And obviously, you know, they're going after an extension and a renewed lease. But there's a new commission, you know, the Mauna Kea Commission or whatever it's called. And that, so there's like a different governing power over that now. But like, according to the lease that they're operating under, is that when this lease is over, they need to restore the land back to its original condition. No can. The pu'u is freaking gone. It's like, I'm not sure if they have it in storage and they're going to bring it back and they're going to hot glue that bugger back to the ʻāina. It's gone. Like, you cannot restore these places. You cannot. And so like for me, and I think for us, is like the idea is that we have not had control over these decisions that have been made in Hawaii that affect our land and affect our people. And that's the root of Mauna Kea. I don't care that you have legislative approval or you got this fund. We don't care. You don't have our approval. And I'm not talking about Kaho'okahi. I'm talking about, I think, like, I mean, I guess I'll speak on behalf of maybe not the Hawaiian people, because there's some Hawaiians on both sides. But I think, I mean, we've never seen anything like that in our lifetime. And it's not a boast or anything. I think it's the truth. Like, we've never seen, I remember, I was always calling it, is the greatest activation, mobilization, and unification of Hawaiian people since 1897, right? Since we gathered 38,000 signatures in 1897 within a 3-week span to protest the annexation of Hawaii to America. Like, I think since that time, that this was the biggest unification of our people. And we saw that our people were not only in disagreement with the way that our land was being treated and the way that we were being dominated in these decisions, but our people were also willing to sacrifice, to take a stand, and we don't, like, back then we didn't know what was gonna happen. I was so scared to get arrested. Like, the biggest fear of my life.
How did you get involved in the first place?
So I was at Manoa. I was in my last semester of Manoa. This is in I moved back home. I graduated and I moved back home 2 weeks later. So I moved back home in 2013. Okay. So this is my last semester at UH Manoa. I'm taking ethnic studies classes, ethnic study 321, Daviana Pomeka'i McGregor. I think it's called Land Tenure and Use in Hawaii. That was our class. So we looked at like the mahele and things like that. But for the end of the semester, every student had to research a modern land issue in Hawaii. And so I wanted something that I could look into for Hawaii Island. I'm going back home. Like, if I'm gonna be knowledgeable about a certain land topic, maybe I don't learn about the one on Kauai. Not because it's not important, but because I'm not gonna be there. I don't really have a way to contribute to that. It's not my ʻāina. I don't have kuleana there, really. But Hawaii, that's where I've come. That's where I've always been. Like, I have kuleana there. And so I don't know how and I think she gave us like a list of like different, obviously, because we wouldn't know, right? We're just students. Like, we need the teacher to tell us like, what are the issues? So I think she provided us with like a list of different land issues that you could choose as a project, or of course you could make your own pick. Mauna Kea was on there. And at this point in time, I think they were calling it was like the 2020 master plan at that time. And, you know, I don't remember all of the details of what I learned, but I dove into that project. I became informed on the amount of telescopes that are up there, the processes that were used or not used to build those telescopes on Mauna Kea. I became informed that like there always has been opposition to these buildings, even if, you know, we didn't see it on social media because there was no social media at that time. I learned about the fact that they're paying $1 a year for Mauna Kea, which is only the world's largest mountain and tallest mountain when measured from the bottom of sea level, which is only like kind of almost universally recognized as, if not the, at least one of the most sacred places in all of Hawaii. And so I'm learning all of these things, and like, this is stupid, like, wow. And then I learned that, and on top of that, we're gonna build a bigger one, the biggest one in the world.
Let's go bigger.
Yeah, we're gonna build the biggest one in the world. And I'm like, no, like that doesn't make sense. So, when I was home now, after that I went home, and I think so I go home in 2013. So within a couple of years, they're gonna do groundbreaking, and that was pretty publicly known. I think I knew about it probably through Antipua case them, maybe Ke Aloha Pishoda them, because I mean, again, like Mauna Kea, and this is one thing that's important to acknowledge as well, is like the fight on Mauna Kea we look at 2015, 16, or 2016, or 2015 I think was the roadblock for the groundbreaking, and then 16 was that first occupation, and 19 was the second occupation, and we look at those moments as the struggle to protect Mauna Kea. But there are people who have been fighting this issue in court for years. The Ke Aloha Pishodas, the Kalani Floreses, the Pua cases, and so on and so forth. And there had been telescopes that were even proposed and not built through their efforts and their actions that they went through the legal route to do. And so that has to be acknowledged, right? Because when we did take the stand on Mauna Kea, it wasn't just these people coming out of nowhere and all of a sudden we're against it. It's like, hey, we've exhausted every avenue. Like, they played your guys' game, right? These people, they went to court. They gave up years and years of their life to stop this, and you guys are going to freaking go through anyway. Okay, well, you leave us with no choice. Like, now we have to do this. This is the only thing that we can do. We cannot play your game. We did it, right? And you guys chose the court, you chose the ball, you chose the uniforms, you chose the referee, you chose the commentators, you chose the audience, you chose the TV network that this is going to be. You chose everything, and we played your game. And if people would look at it from the outside, we kicked your ass. But you're in charge of everything, and you push it through anyway. This is the only choice we have left, right? So I remember hearing social media, social media was just born at that time too. Like, the first time we were being like praised, like, this new generation, they're using these new tools to like inform people. Like, it was a thing that we were utilizing social media, and all it was like hashtag TMT shutdown on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. But it was like, really, at least in Hawaii, it was the first time that this new technology was being utilized for like social justice and political activism, right? So that was the thing. So I'm pretty sure that I found through social media that the groundbreaking is happening, and there's going to be a ceremony at Pu'uhuluhulu. And so I was like, okay, I gotta go. So I went. In fact, I was at on Oahu for Pūnana Leo. We're at a teacher development conference, and I was like, I need to leave a day early. So I took off. I got I was allowed, I guess. Sorry, the truth was I was going no matter what. But okay, awesome. No ramifications. Okay, I'm going. I flew in. I got to the airport. I drove straight to Pu'uhuluhulu. The ceremony had already started. Stood there, and the whole time I was just wondering, what are we gonna do? I didn't come here just to pule. I didn't. My understanding of when I Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian mo'olelo, our kupuna didn't, just oh, please help me, please give me this blessing, and then we wait. No, when we pule, it's not hey, dear God, please. It's e kia kua, ho mai ka ʻike, ho mai ka ʻikaika. Give it to me. I'm not asking you, give it to me, because I'm gonna do my part, right? You do your part, We're a team. You do your part. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to fight. This is not on you. This is on me. I'm asking you to help me. So for me, like I was standing there, I was like, okay, this is cool, but we're going to do something, right? And I don't know anybody. Like I just moved back home, and this is not someone who just went in from college. I've been gone since 7th grade, you know, and I was the kid who was in Hawaiian immersion before that. So like I wouldn't say that I was like well known in Kona. Like everybody knew my brother. Nobody knew me, you know, like if anything, I was Kawai's brother. Like I was, you know, my younger brother's brother. That's what I was. So I didn't really have a community to be a part of, especially as it related to these types of things. But I just remember like, we're going to do something, right? And so after it was done, there were, you know, some people who didn't like, okay, we did our thing and we go home. And there are others like, okay, we did a thing. Now we go do the thing, or, you know, or another thing. And so it was just organic. Like there was no, and I don't mean this like in a bad way at that point. Like there was no organization. It was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go up. Oh, you going up? Oh, bro, I get truck. I go up too. Oh, you get truck. Oh, we can jump in. Fill them up as much as you can. Fill them up. So now I got people. I don't even know who they are in my truck. And we, you know, and we drive up, and then the first stop is the ground. You know, this is the groundbreaking we're talking about. First stop is Halepohaku, the crosswalk, right? And there's a block, and then eventually we make our way up to the Mauna. We shut down the ceremony, the groundbreaking. Lanakila, oh my! If Lanakila did that speech today in 2016 with the amount of reach that social media has, that thing would have like 80 billion views. Are you Pele? Snakes. I mean, like just killed them. Killed them. And I remember looking at Lanakila like that day, and I'm like, bro, I will fucking go to war with this guy. This guy is ran up Mauna Kea barefoot.
Wow.
In malo and his freaking huge kappa.
Wow.
Not he went up the road. This bugger was cutting true. Like, I don't have time to go zigzag. I mean, like, I was so inspired that day. Like, that's the day I learned how to be, if I could say it, like I learned to be a little bit courageous. I was as much as I was like, I like help, I like stop this, I was also very afraid. I was very afraid. And I didn't see any fear in Lanakila. There was no fear in his eye. Like that guy, I believe he was willing to die that day to stop it. Wow. And that's something that I'll never forget. And like Lanakila and I, we don't talk often. Like when we see each other, we aloha each other. Like I'll always have a special bond with that person, with him, especially as we moved into like the next round at Mauna Kea when we had to stop on that first
Trauma
occupation.
Bonding, that's what they call
yeah,
it.
but I mean, like, I went to war with that guy, you know, and I followed that guy into war. And so it was, I mean, I don't even know where we're going. This is such a long story, right? We're only at the groundbreaking
This is
right
so
now.
cool. I feel like I'm watching a movie.
But I mean, it just all happened.
Yeah.
It all happened. And we eventually, right, we stopped it. They never broke ground. And so, actually, so I can go, it's 3-0, ku kiaʻi Mauna, right? Groundbreaking you tried, ʻaʻole. First time you tried, ʻaʻole. Second time you tried, ʻaʻole. So we're winning, 3-0. Still lots of game to play. But after that point, you know, Lanakila taught me how to be courageous. He taught me how to, I guess to quote Antipua case, to be stronger than my fear, you know? And so at that point, that's when I started getting involved in the organizing.
Yeah.
And I kept in touch with Lanakila. I was like, hey, bro, like, we're going to do this. We're going to go all the way through. And he was down. And so we had meetings. We would stay in touch. I was organizing community events at that time in Kona. I had a series called Hawaii Aloha ʻāina, where I would bring in different speakers to educate the community on different Hawaiian topics. Because I left Manoa, where I met all these people and all these maku at Pūnana Leo, and like who are into ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, who are into Hawaiian culture, Hawaiian politics, Hawaiian history, identity, all of those types of things. And I went back to Kona, where I haven't been there since I was 11 years old. people don't know me. I don't have that community. So I started doing these free events, bringing people, they talk, and we went through like all kinds of different topics. And for me, that was like, it's like selfishly, yeah, like I want to educate my people, but it's like, but I need friends who are into this. Like I can't, I want to do this and we need a hui. So I was trying to build that up. I brought Lana Kila in and Uncle Walter to kind of build the bridge between Kaho'olawe and Mauna Kea. Because we knew that like the next stand was coming. And so I wanted to get our people makokau. And maybe one of just like the last like cool little tidbits of like the mo'olo. This is before we get to like that first occupation in 2016. I remember talking to Lana Kila like, hey, it's happening, like we're gonna do it. And I remember getting this text message from him. He's so Lana Kila, I love it. So Lana Kila, meet me in the shadows of Pu'ukohola at sunrise. Meet me in the shadows of Pu'ukohola at sunrise. And I was like, see you there. And so that's where like he had his he made his little aha where he like, awokened, what was, ku kiaʻi mauna. And that was like the first step of going up. And then eventually, we started with the Aloha, I think we call it the Aloha safety checkpoint or something, where we're stopping every car at the crosswalk that first time, checking people, hey, what are you going through for, and this and that, educating. And it was a way for us to like, people didn't know what was going on. Local people didn't know what was going on. There were a lot of issues because, there's local people like, hey, like anything else, like you blocking me from my land and this and that. Just there was no awareness as to what was happening. And then eventually, right, that morphed into like they were coming up, and now we get to the first blockades, we get to the first arrest. There's a prolonged occupation that ran from like March of 2016, because the groundbreaking was October 2015. And then that they tried again in March to actually start the project. So there was that occupation, March 2016, that went through July 2016. And then it was, that's when the court came out and they ruled that they didn't have the clearance to move forward with the project. So it was dead at that point. We went back to court, contested case hearing with over 24 different, I can't remember what the court term is, test of complainants, complainants, I don't know, whatever it is. 24 of us against the project, right? There's that whole contested case hearing again. Again, now we're playing their game in their stadium with the ball, all that kind of stuff. And while we would feel pretty confident that we smashed them again, of course, it doesn't matter because they're in control. They push it through. And then we go back up in 2019 and there's a prolonged occupation we went up in July 2019 and we were there through just like the beginning of February 2020 when COVID started to hit. And, we felt like it was in everybody's best interest to get off the Mauna. We were very, very confident based on the information that we had that there was no imminent threat to Mauna Kea, that TMT was not going to be moving forward anytime soon. And so it was in the best interest of everybody, of us, to stop exhausting ourselves, stop exhausting resources, because at that point, our presence there was not needed. There was no threat. The best choice was to get everybody home safe and preserve ourselves and our resources for the next fight. Because even now in 2026, even though they didn't get that $800 million or the $850 million, whatever it was that they were going for from the NSF, they're still trying to push forward. They still, whether it's, Alameda in Hilo, who was against TMT and said he was on the Mauna protesting against TMT, but now he is support because get this new version of TMT that none of us have ever seen and none of us have ever heard, because the truth is there is no new version. There's only one version. It's the version that desecrates Mauna Kea. It's the version that digs down, over 30 feet into our ʻāina, that's going to get rid of that land that can never be restored because they're not going to put it in storage and they're not going to glue it back. So again, now I'm losing my train of thought. But okay, so like it's not over, right? He's supportive of it. Now they're going after, I think they're going after DOD money, Department of Defense. when this was always never about defense, right? Anybody who talked about military operations, about the telescope in 2015 or 16 or 19 are just these conspiracy theorists, has nothing to do with that. It's all about science. It's all about exploration. This is going to be a groundbreaking thing. It was going to be a groundbreaking thing maybe in 2015. Technology has changed tremendously. Since then, we can point to hundreds of examples where technology that we interact with every single day we just talked about social media being a baby at that point in time. Now it's a monster. Like, things are completely different. So for me, like, they're not going to be the largest telescope. They're not going to be the one that can get images that these other telescopes cannot get. The technology, I'm not saying it's obsolete. It's not up to date. It's not the same thing that it was back then. And so for me, this idea that they're gonna, after every single time that they lost, after being resisted clearly in numbers that we've never seen in our lifetime, every single step of the way, they continue to push forward. And so for me, it tells me that TMT is not about science. TMT is not about exploration. TMT is about domination.
I was thinking power.
It's about domination. They feel the need to remind us that they are stronger than us.
They want to little bro us.
Yep. No matter how much we do, no matter how much we try, they're always going to have the resources. They're always going to have the power that they think, which are just these things and these things and the spray things. And it's about domination. They want to punish us back into our place, where we rightfully belong, under their control, under their dominion. And so to me, it gets to the point where it's not even about whether this is good or this is bad or this can achieve or that they actually can achieve it. It's not about that. It's about who has the power to determine what's going to happen to Hawaiian lands in Hawaii that are supposed to be held in trust for Hawaiian people. And they don't want the Hawaiian people to be the ones that are making that determination. So they're going to do everything that they can to ram this down our throats. But I feel very, 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 very confident that our lāhui will do everything we can to reverse that bugger and shove it right down theirs. And I feel confident, I think, in our abilities to do that because, again, we talked about a different consciousness level this time versus the 80s. There's a different consciousness now that, than there was before Mauna Kea. And there's other factors that we need to worry about as well and be mindful about. And I'm not going to talk about those things because those things should be talking about at a personal level, not publicly. Not that people can't know, but those are things that we need to be able to talk to each other face to face. And, on a personal level, on a human level, not this fake, I don't know who you are, you don't know who I am, I say whatever I want on social media, no accountability and all that kind of stuff. So it's not done. There's a long way to go. I would definitely prefer not to have to do it again, right? I would like to just we win, on to the next one, because there's a lot of other issues that are happening. We got the military leases coming up, that's a topic and everything like that. So there's all these things that we have to do, but ultimately, I think that we've proven time and time again that when we're committed, when we're unified, when we're organized, and when we're informed, and when we have courage, we win.
Yeah. Dang, that's beautiful. I will follow you into war, Kaho'okahi. I'm ready. I'm here now. I got a podcast. I'm like, try me.
Let's go.
Try do it again because we got numbers now.
Coming. Right.
Yeah. So that's mahalo to all you guys for uniting and doing all that. I mean, I know it wasn't easy. You're just giving up your own time. You're not working. I know people are living there and like. Mahalo to all the people that donated things, time, money, food. I couldn't have done that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, it wasn't just who was on the Mauna, right? Like, I know I get a lot of praise and things like that, like for being on the Mauna. And I mean, I had kuleana, I think, but like I was the voice, I was the guy that got on camera and said what needed to be said, hopefully to help inform our people and to inspire our people to, again, like, to take these steps, to be courageous. But I mean, there's so many people who people don't even know their names. They don't know what they look like. These people will never get acknowledged for the tremendous contributions that they contributed to that movement, from the kitchen crew, you know, to the media team, to the people that would walk up and down all day and go clean the lua, to the people who would, you know, make the road nice and take care, who would live in the kupuna tent with the kupuna and feed them and keep them warm and, you know, walk them to the, and, like, there's just so many, the Kapu Aloha crew who, you know, help to mitigate and, you know, and like facilitate or kind of de-escalate situations that come up in these tense times, whether it's between, you know, the protectors and, you know, the state, or, you know, even sometimes within our own hui. Like, you know, we were human. Like, you know, like we see on Mauna Kea the success, and there was a lot of it, but there was also a lot of struggle too. You know, I mean, we're, like you said, we're living up at Pu'uhuluhulu. It's cold, it's windy, it's rainy. You know, we're away from home. We're sleeping in cots or on the ground or in a truck for months and at a time. Like, things can get testy, things can get, you know, difficult, and there's not always one way to approach a situation, right? But there's only, in a sense, like only one way you can choose at a time. And so, like, there's things that, you know, so there's all kind of people that contributed that don't get the same mahalo, you know, that people like me would get, or that those of us that were more visible. But we could have been as visible if we didn't have all of these people there doing their parts, the dirty work, the ones that don't get the mahalo and don't get the glory. Then there's no glory for anybody, you know, and there's no lanakila. So that's again too, like, there's so much ways that we can contribute. Mauna Kea as an example, we were talking about with ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi earlier. Like, you don't have to be the guy, you know, like, you can just be you. And again, and even those who weren't on the Mauna, right? There are people who would drive up just to pick up trash, to take it back down to Hilo, or I'm going from Hilo to Kona. So as I drive through, I'm gonna grab trash. Do you guys need anything? Can we bring water? Can we bring clothes? Can we donate? I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, we have to be able to imagine that, like, we can do it. And, like, there's these examples where we've shown it without any resources, going against the most resourced. We can do it. Imagine if we had control. Like, when we talk about Hawaiian independence and things like that, like, which, you know, some people think you're crazy for thinking that for wanting that. It's like, no, have courage, have belief, like, imagine. It doesn't have to be like this. It does not have to. It wasn't like this, even just 8 years ago. Like, it doesn't have to be like this, but we need to have courage, right, in order to fight for something better. And I'm using the word courage over and over again because I'm thinking about Papa Mau Piailu, right, who basically restored Hawaiian navigation, right, with Hokule'a and the first voyage. And of course, this is someone that I've never met. I don't know him personally, but I'm lucky enough to have I have like no connections with like these people, like these OGs, I guess, you know. But like, I've been lucky enough to have mentors who have been mentored by these people, and so, like, you know, one of my good friends and one of my biggest mentors, Kalekoa Ka'el, he always talks about this quote from Papa Mau. And it's, if I have courage, it's because I have faith in the teachings of my ancestors. Yeah, if I have courage, it's because I have faith in the teachings of my ancestors. And so when we learn our language, when we learn our history, when we learn our culture, when we learn our stories, and we become familiar and informed about the tremendous, unthinkable accomplishments that our kupuna achieved. And when we know our stories and we know our history and we know the mistakes that our kupuna made, because our kupuna, like us, are human, right? We begin to have courage because we know what they've taught us, we know what they've left us, and it's really, like, for me, it's like it's the most empowering thing that we can have, is that identity, that understanding of who we were, because who we were is who we are. And so I just think, like, we have these stories like Mauna Kea. It's like, imagine if we had a system, like a machine where we can pump these things out. We can freaking do so much better. It doesn't have to be like this. And even if you're comfortable in this lifestyle, like, who doesn't want to be more comfortable? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, who turns, if I can, hey, I can give you 2 double beds, or you can have the king,
the presidential suite.
I give you the cow king. You know, oh, that sounds, I might not use the whole bed, but that sounds pretty cool. I take that one, more comfortable. You know, more options. You know, more potential maybe. And so we're just living in this system where we're limited. We're not limited, but there's like this barrier, right? That we're actually not limited by. We can get over it. We can get around it. We can get under it. We can go right freaking through it if we want to. But we need to have the courage to take those risks.
Yeah. Awesome. So many good things. To close the Mauna Kea talks, and you know, I always just thought, like, if the Hawaiians don't want it, then you gotta listen to them. That's our land. You know, I always think of the for some reason I always think of the Kanye West song "Family Business," and at the end he's like, "If he ain't did it, he ain't did it. But if he did, now that's family business." And I always think about it as like, hey, I don't care how good the TMT is, how much money it's gonna make, how good it is for the future. If the Hawaiians don't want it, you listen to them. That's family business. If all of us, you know, we did something that, you know, isn't, I guess, I don't know, like the most legal thing, but I'm always gonna stand with my Hawaiian. I don't even care, no matter what, you know. So that's how I feel, is like, that's family business, you know. The lāhui, that's family business.
That's our kuleana.
Yeah, exactly.
That's our kuleana.
Yeah. Before we get into the shishi break, I want to ask if you can share a secret word or phrase. So for every giveaway that we do this week, it's a lot of Pokemon cards. Shout out to Any Kind Collectibles and Ohana Collectibles and Deals. We're giving away a lot of Pokemon cards. So for extra entries, the guests can give like the secret code or, you know, phrase that they can share, and they get extra entries. So they get extra 5 entries. So if you can think of a word or phrase.
I got it.
Okay, got it.
Ahiki ke aloha ʻāina hope loa.
Ooh, try to spell that one.
Yeah. Ahiki ke aloha ʻāina hope loa.
Okay.
Spelling doesn't have to count.
Yeah. People have.
And if you misuse your okina and your kahako, it's okay. It's all good, right? I mean,
it's okay. So email nicole@keepitaloha.com. Ahiki ike aloha ʻāina hope loa.
Yeah.
Email that phrase.
I'll give an alternative too.
Okay.
Until the very last aloha ʻāina.
Okay.
You can say them in Hawaiian or English.
English.
Does that work? Yeah.
One extra bonus entry if you do it in Hawaiian.
There we go.
So email her your favorite Pokemon with that phrase, and then you get extra bonus entries into this giveaway. All right, mahalo. Let's take a quick shishi break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Stay tuned in a couple of weeks. We got a new drink sponsor coming up in March. So stay tuned for that. I was thinking too, when we were talking about Lana Kila and all that social media, I had the chance to talk and meet Lana Kila in like 2020 when I was doing my Race to 50K. I did like these little Instagram live interviews. I think that's the first time I reached out to you around that time.
We met at, I think it was at a Navahi event.
Maybe?
Namaka introduced you to me.
Namaka Di Mello?
No,
Rollins. Namaka, yeah.
And she, because that's your auntie, right?
She is auntie to, my Ohana, my sister Lei is dating Malu, Ohano.
Okay.
And Auntie Pua is like best friends with Auntie Namaka.
Okay, yeah. So I remember meeting you. That's my first memory. Was like, it was at a Navahi event, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I had a table, and you were, I met you. You told me about your Race to 50K.
Because I did. Was it Pulama?
It might have been Pulama Mauliola. Because Pulama Mauliola used to be in the Navahi gym, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it was in Navahi gym.
That makes sense because it's in February 2020.
Okay.
And I remember going to that. Yeah. Okay. So that's what it was. And then I remember messaging, but I know you were busy. And then I I randomly saw you, I think, in Kokomina one time, like a couple years ago.
Paddling, yeah, we were up here for
Yeah,
paddling.
paddling.
This
Like,
is last season, I think.
last year? Yeah, I remember.
We were up here for the,
Yeah.
I think we were doing it was either the Duke Kana Moku race from Kailua to Hawaii Kai, or we were doing the Henry Ayao.
Oh, okay.
Just Hawaii
yeah.
Kai to
I remember.
Nanakule,
I was
yeah.
just over there and I said, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the first question. This one comes from Sophie May 14. Best advice for learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. He haumana au ma ka hakaula o ke eli kolani.
Okay, well, I think I don't know if I can give you the best advice. I just give you my
Yeah,
advice,
your
and you
advice.
can rank it on the on the list of best or worst. But I think obviously, I think the most structured way, and maybe even like the most successful way, generally speaking, is to enroll in a class where you have a structure and you have a community, a group of people that you can learn ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi with. So I think that's very beneficial, helpful, especially in those first years, just to learn the basics, the grammar, to build your vocabulary. You have these, right in a class, like you have these thresholds that you have to meet, right? It's not like, maybe I'll just do 6 words this week, or I'll push it. Like, no, like you can, and you're out of the class, right? So there's an incentive, there's this investment and this commitment that most people need. You know, I'm one of them. Like if I just have free reign, then I have free reign, and I have the option to do it, or to be, I'm gonna take the day off, right? So discipline is great, and I think all of us need a little kick in the elemu every once in a while to do that. So I think a class is important, but I would say more importantly, or maybe just as important, is increasing as much as possible our input. Yeah, that in order for us to have output, we have to have input, because our output is going to be reflective of the amount of input that we have. And whatever we're inputting into our system is what's going to be regurgitated. So if all we're hearing or talking about is just these sentences and these sentence structures and the translation of this, then we're kind of limited to that. But I think just building up comfortability, like read ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, read the story. Read, na keiki e lima. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to grab Fornander right off the bat. You don't have to grab ke kumuʻopuni right off the bat. You should grab ke kumuʻopuni. It's in Hawaiian and in English, so you have that. But I mean, like, you can start super simple. Read kids' books. Because while the story maybe might not be at an adult level, right? Our speaking as learners are not at an adult level. So we can utilize that. And even within these kids' stories, there's new vocabulary that's being utilized. You're not going to be overloaded with fancy grammar, but the grammar is not just going to be ua, 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 ua. Like you're going to see the hune kuhi. Yeah, the iho, the aku, the mai, the a'e. You're going to understand the use of, go back to okina. Like, is this ana? Is this okina ana or a no okina ana? Is this an okina o or a no okina o? And so you can develop competency. So I think input is the most important thing. There's a lot of resources that are out there. Not nearly as much as we need, not nearly as much as there should be, and not nearly as much as there will be in the future as we continue to make these things. But there are things there for us. So utilize Ka Hawaiʻi. There's 417 interviews up there. I think that's even more than Keep It Aloha right now, right? And you're almost there.
Yeah, okay, we're halfway there.
I mean, there's 400, and each one is at least an hour. And some of them might be like our episode, and they're going to be 8 hours. I mean, like, there's thousands of hours there. Go into the Kunten Kanahele collection. Jump into Ulukau. There's hundreds of books there. And again, from a preschool level through 2nd grade to 5th grade to adult level. We have selfish plug, we have Mai Ka Pūnana Mai.
I was gonna say it if you did.
We have Hawaiian-language, podcasts out there. It's not the only one. There's the ʻaikole program. You mentioned kole before, right? Talking story. There's the ʻaikole program that was done by Ekela Kani'aupio Crozier. She was like the host of that. There was a series of that during COVID. There's resources out there, and while these resources are not enough, and while they're not where they need to be, they're also not utilized enough. And so, again, I'll quote a kupuna that I never had the opportunity or the privilege to meet, to be around. But again, I have mentors who are mentored by this person. Anakala Eddie Kana'ana from Miloli'i, Hawaiian fisherman, Mauna Kea. And again, ʻŌlelo No'ea that was shared to me, I think again from Kalekoa, who get all my quotes from Kalekoa. Li'u kapa'akai. Li'u kapa'akai, meaning everything is salted. Chokes out, everything is salted, right? But it's not necessarily in our lap. So it's there. We just got to go grab it. You got to go grab the fish. Maybe you got to rinse them off a little bit, but it's there to be eaten, right? But the fish is dead. Not that our thing is dead, but they're not coming to us. We got to go to it. So you input. Listen as much as you can, read as much as you can, speak as much as you can. If you don't have someone to speak with, get a pet, get a dog, get a fish if you like. They're not going to talk back to you. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to tell you that was wrong, that you said it. You're going to feel comfortable. Talk to the dog in Hawaiian. Talk to the cat in Hawaiian. You got chickens, talk to my chickens in Hawaiian. You know what I mean? Like, and my parents' dog, Kunane, we love him. He just passed away. He's like 16 years with my parents. But he was an English language speaking dog for 10 years. And then my kids were born, and well, okay, we're only talking to this dog in Hawaii now. We are. So now Kunane became bilingual, right? Sick. Kunane knows English and Hawaiian. So I think that's a good strategy as well. If you're okay just talking to yourself, go for it. But if you need someone and you don't have the people, get an animal. Get the cheapest one if that's the case.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Great advice. And I would just like to add on top of that, and just for language learners, not just Hawaiian, because I've learned Spanish and Malagasy, multiple languages. Mai hila hila, a'ai ka ʻŌlelo, like you can't be shy. You just got to go for it. We make mistakes in English. I mispronounce words. I love grammar, so I write the proper your, and there's tons of people who speak English as their first language that spell they are, their, your incorrectly, spell words incorrectly.
We use is and are incorrectly sometimes.
Yeah, was, were, so many things we do incorrectly. Or just like not using adverbs. I do it incorrect instead of incorrectly, just like that. So it's going to happen in other languages too. And you just got to accept it. Like, nobody's going to be perfect. You don't got to be hemolele. You just got to do it. I mean, the best way for me, at least, was like to be immersed. Like, I took Spanish at UH, but it wasn't until I went to Spain and Argentina where I was just like really learned it. There's no way I would have learned Malagasy if I wasn't in Madagascar, So for Hawaiian, we don't have that abundance of speakers yet. So we can't immerse ourselves in it. Like my dad says, one day it can be caught and not taught. You go to places it's amazing. Like you go to Spain, people are speaking Spanish. You go to Italy, people are speaking Italian. We're not there in Hawaii yet, where you go to Hawaii and everyone's speaking Hawaiian. It is way more than when we were growing up, but we're just not there yet, and maybe we will get there.
But we can create those circles. We have the circles. It might be a little artificial.
Find it. You just gotta find it. If you're passionate about it, you'll do it. Last thing, because you said elemu, and it's one of my.
Didn't say ʻōkole on purpose.
It's one of my things that I just laugh at, because I don't know, because I think I looked it up, and ʻōkole. So ʻōkole to me, when I think about it, is butthole. Elemu is like the cheeks. So they're like
the buttocks.
The buttocks. I think I might have looked it up, and ʻōkole was used for buttocks too. I don't know if that's.
I haven't. It's not something that we could look it up now.
Yeah. I think I might have looked up because I was curious about it, because I was like, I've always known ʻōkole as like the butthole, and elemu as the cheeks.
There's also amo, for the butthole as well too. So there's different words.
So like when they're like ʻōkole maluna, I always think like, oh, they're saying buttholes to the sky, and like, oh, kick your ʻōkole, like kicking the butthole. Like, I don't know. Where do you stand on that?
I mean, I use elemu. I use elemu for buttocks. Like nohomako elemu. Sit on your butt. Hey. Holohe o pai ia ko elemu, right? Better listen. So like that's what I use. And then of course I would use ʻōkole under certain circumstances. But again too, like when someone says it wrong, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's like use Hawaiian, and I've heard from so many people like, oh, there's like so much judgment, and and I feel embarrassed, and like personally I've never experienced that. Because I've had my times where, like, when I started my master's, after after the first round of Mauna Kea, I went to Kahakaʻula, and I felt like there was like this, like, I was the Mauna Kea guy. Yeah, like, the Mauna Kea guy's in the class. The Mauna Kea guy got smashed by Yota. Yota Cabra smashed me. Like, my language, again, I had fluency, had strong fluency, and I wasn't like completely inaccurate, but there was a lot of hema, a lot of like just common mistakes that I made. And I continue to deal with those today, like most Hawaiian language speakers. But like he never judged me. Yota has his style. He might make you feel stupid. He's not gonna call you stupid.
Kumihiapo was that to me.
Yeah. My Kumihiapo was my good friend and great kumu. But if anybody is like judging learners, like stop. Like we want them to learn. Let them make mistakes. We don't have to point it out all the time. If we're in a class and we have a relationship, we can help each other. Like help each other. Like like, I'm not saying like just let people, continue to leave the nori in their teeth and not say anything. But we don't necessarily have to like blast them in front of everybody. Say, hey, did everybody see the nori in the teeth?
Time and place.
Yeah, like these are people. It's hard. Yeah. It's difficult. Stop shaming people. Like we should for me, I appreciate when people try. I appreciate when people struggle through it. Yeah. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. Who am I to judge? Because if we were to have this conversation in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, like I'm gonna make mistakes too. And there's been times
even more mistakes.
There's been times on the podcast where like, and I've said something wrong, and I'm watching it back and I'm like, oh,
yeah, I know. Yeah,
and then I'll put like a little graphic in the podcast. Like I said this, that's wrong. Like it's not, it's not apuni o kahale. Hele apuni kahale. And I said, apuni, I think I said, apuni ona instead of puni oya. Right? And like, and I heard, I was like, I made that mistake. I was like, we're not. Let's point it out to people. Yeah. Like let's tell people. And some people are like, oh, did somebody do that? I was like, no, I did that. Like I want people to know that it's okay to make mistakes, and that maybe at some points in time, from some people, that maybe they might look at me as like the host of that podcast and think, oh, this guy can ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi really, really good, and he doesn't have to worry about this. Like, no, I do. And maybe all of us at different levels. But like I want to get Yota on my podcast, and I want him like, hey Yota, the whole time we talk, every time I make a mistake, just blast me.
Ring a bell.
Like, and not to shame or whatever, but like we should be comfortable being corrected. But then we should also be comfortable with people just speaking Hawaiian. Yeah. And if it's hema, right on. Keep speaking, because it's only going to get better and it's not going to get worse.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I feel like I relate it to, growing up, of course, we're judgmental as humans, right? Nowadays, I see, because I've been in the position of learning new languages, of doing things that are uncomfortable and looking stupid, trying something new and whatever. So I understand, don't judge them. I was in that position. Anybody to do something new as an adult as well is very brave. It's a very brave thing, because we're not put in a beginner's mindset that many times as an adult, whether that's learning a new sport or language. So give people grace. But what I would think about when I was growing up, and this is a really bad thing, but it's just as a kid, you're like, you see a big like a fat person working out or running, and the immediate thing is like, look at that person running, right? Now, man, I see somebody who's overweight running, working out, I'm like, man, that's inspiring. I'm like so happy for that person that they're going through this experience and they're trying. Like I have 0% of that judgment anymore of like that person is so brave to be doing that in front of everybody, running on the side of the road because they want to get better. Yep. People are ashamed to do that because they don't want people to judge them, but they have the courage to do that in front of people because they want to make themselves better. So if somebody like that can do it, you can ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, in front of people even. And like you said, there's levels. Like when I'm talking with my dad or my brother, I'm just talking however, I'm making mistakes, guarantee. But if I'm talking with someone like you, I gotta sit up a little upright.
We all have our people, I mean,
exactly.
We all have our people that we like, okay, he's gonna make me
exactly. If I'm talking with kumu, kama na kumu hiapo, I'm like, man, I am nervous because I just feel like everything I say is gonna be wrong.
Sometimes I check the dictionary before I even text y'all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
I
like,
go
that's my kumu. You know what I mean? Like he's invested so much in me.
Yeah.
Am I really gonna send him this stuff and he's gonna be like, oh, this is really like after all I've given him.
Yeah.
He's still texting me this word.
No.
You know. So I mean, we have our people like that, and that's good. But then we also have to have our people where it's like, hey, bro, like this is like a super, and not that Hiapo was judgmental of me anyway. It's more I'm like I want to show respect to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've given me so much. I want to exhibit to you that you didn't waste your time, right? But then we also have to have our people where it's like, no, hey, bro, we're just talking.
Yeah,
we're just talking.
hello.
So for everybody who's like judgmental of other people who are like speaking Hawaiian or trying to speak Hawaiian, like to me, stop. And to those who are trying, like for whatever it's worth, I appreciate you. Yeah. I respect you and admire the courage, the bravery that it takes to put yourselves in these vulnerable positions.
Yeah. I know there was one clip we had where Keawe was like, I was like, how do you feel about people mispronouncing words? And he's like, Iro. There's a lot of comments of like,
I mean, yeah,
that,
we don't want it. We don't want it. But I would take the mispronunciation over English.
Yeah. Well, I would say at least you're using it. At least they're trying.
We'll fix it.
Yeah,
It'll fix it. It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
It's gonna get better. And again, like there's but it's
nobody judging.
The bigger fish to fry.
Yeah,
bigger
exactly. Fish to fry. Oh wow, that's a great segue into the next question from Jodeci888. This person says favorite fish to eat and favorite way to eat it, raw or cooked.
Ooh, favorite fish to eat. Okay, I want to break it up into two. I think I refish. Like I like kole, and I like pakuʻikuʻi. Okay, I like u'u too. I like menpachi. Upapalu. I like upapalu. Those are probably my favorite. I know you only asked for one. That's probably my top 4 favorite fish. Refish. And as we get like deeper, I like uku. Uku, it's like a gray snapper, bottom fish, or kind of not really bottom fish, but yeah, bottom fish. But not like, well, you can find them like 80 feet. You can find them in deeper water. But uku, I love uku. I will, bake them, fry them, sashimi, even omilu. I love omilu. I like making fish tacos with omilu. Nice. I make sashimi with omilu. So, and then of course, ahi with make poke, and kava makes good poke. So like basically my favorite fish are the fish that I can catch off my canoe, which is like that's how I go fishing. I drag
like single man.
I go on my one man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I drag lure. I have I just go trolling. I've done some like jigging before. I caught one kahala jigging. Got lucky. I think kind of my cousin showed me where one of the ko'a was in Kona, and I went out around that area as best as I could remember. A couple drops, hook up. But for the most part, I like just trolling because if I don't catch anything, I'm paddling. We'll go paddle like 18 miles dragging a lure. Take 4 miles, 4 hours, and sometimes I walk away with nothing, and then there's other times where I walk away with 3 omilu and a ulua, or 2 omilu and a uku, and so my favorite fish are the ones that I can catch on my bamboo pole, on my tree prong that I haven't used in probably 15 years, and off my canoe.
Okay, he's grateful for whatever you get.
Yeah, mahalo ka mea
what was it?
ʻike kahi, kapi
kahi. That was a book, right?
Chora, yeah. It is a book, yeah. And it's an ʻŌlelo no too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I remember that one growing up. Okay, next question comes from Kulani Watson. Shout out to past podcast guest Kulani Watson. He says he's on a weight loss journey too.
Yeah,
I see his videos, man. So
good for him.
So inspiring. Love you, Kulani. This question, he says, after working on Chief of War alongside Pa'a, Justin Tron, and others, has that motivated you to start writing stories of your own that you'd want to see on screen, whether it's a short film, TV series, documentary, or feature?
It has. Yes, it has. In fact, we just came out with a new documentary called ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, ʻŌlelo lāhui, which was done under Pūnana Leo. I was a producer of it. Cool. I brought in Maine Kinimaka from Kauai, who was also on Chief of War. She was Jason Momoa's assistant for probably like 6 or 7 years. Yeah. And she's now moved back, or she's in Aotearoa and back home, but she's not doing the assistant thing. She's doing her own thing. So we brought in Malama Films, her production company, to make the movie. So it's a 35-minute documentary on, I think one of the questions like for this one is like, we talk about ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi all the time. ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. One, what does that mean? And two, why? Why? Right? So like we made a documentary that was really built around those questions. What does ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi mean, and why is that important? And we're very fortunate that's we just announced this past week it was accepted into the Māoriland Film Festival.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it'll be showing in Aotearoa. I think it's on March 26th. The festival is March 24th to 28th. So we'll be in Aotearoa in a couple of weeks. And I mean, I learned so much on. I was fortunate, you know. I was with Jason almost like 24/7 for most of the time. Towards the end of Aotearoa, I got my own place that was like a 10-minute walk away from his, where I could, you know, sleep in my own bed and have a little bit of freedom sometimes.
Space, yeah.
But just being able, so when he was in production meetings, like I'm there with him. When they're in the writer meetings, like I'm there with them. When they're having these producer meetings, I'm there with him. And so I got to, as someone who had completely no idea, you know, what the movie thing was and how these things were made, I got to hear from these people who know what they're doing. Justin Chon is freaking amazing. He's awesome.
Guest. We love you, Justin.
You know, Brian, who was another director and one of Jason's partners, super cool guy. Pa'akai, awesome. Doug Chun, who was the one of the producers, like, I mean, really nice people. And I think people with a lot of integrity and who wanted to do the best that they could with what they had. But these are accomplished people in their field. That's why Apple gave them so much money to do these things. So I've definitely been inspired to do these things. I'm working on another project now. I want to make a film about our canoe club, Kaio'opua, and its history and its founding.
Cool.
Because the story of Kaio'opua Canoe Club is really like a big part of the story of Kona.
Kona Kaio'opua.
Yeah, Kona Kaio'opua. Right? That's why we're named after that, right? So that's another project that's in the works. So definitely, I think I would love to be able to. I would love to. There's a lot of mo'olelo that I'd love to take and turn into a cartoon for not just for kids, but like, you know, I mean,
anime.
Just for people.
Yeah.
Like cartoons can be, again, because it depends on what the content is, and if like you want Hawaiian language and you want Hawaiian culture, like we can make you can make cartoons, we can make movies. Like I want to do all of those things. I don't necessarily feel like I have the skill set to write like those types of things. I've written a couple of commercials, you know, 30-second commercials where you can just tell this little story in 30 seconds. But like, I don't know how to build out like these scenes and how to cut from one part of the story to this other part of the story. How do we distribute time among characters, and how do we build this backstory within the big story? Like I don't understand all of those things. So I would love to like be I think my ability in this area would be like kind of more of like a producer, which is like what I felt like we did with Chief of War, where I was Jason's language coach, but when we're talking about the lines, we're also talking about the scene. And when we're talking about the scene, we're talking about the story and the props and the extras and, you know, the blocking and how everything's gonna go. And so I think as time went on, I became really comfortable. Like, we shouldn't do it like this. I think we should do it like this. Or, you know, we're gonna go to Keawe and we're gonna try to broker peace. That's what this scene is about. Okay, let's utilize the pohaku ele and the pohaku ke'o. Right, there's this mo'olelo of Kamehameha and Keawe Mauhili. You want to go to war, and you know, choose the white ulumaika. You want to go to war, choose the black ulumaika. You know, Kamehameha sends the same message to Kahekili. So like where I enjoyed most, obviously helping with the language, but like being able to take the things that I know from the time that I've spent in our mo'olelo, and be able to inform them with these things, and then to see like my favorite, maybe a little selfishly, but like my favorite scene of the entire Chief of War series is episode 6, when Kekupuahi and Kaiana go to Keawe, and she gives them the 2 stones, right? So it's like, okay, like we're planting that seed, like that we can find this in mo'olelo. Maybe we can't find this specifically with Keawe, but it was a way for me to like include this cultural custom and practice, this cultural form of diplomacy maybe, that is not widely known, get it in the movie. and Cliff Curtis he's like, I'm gonna cut Yana. Cliff Curtis is awesome. Like
awesome.
he's like when he's in the mode, it's like the character and the human, they're so intertwined. There's like, who am I talking to right now? Am I talking to Cliff or am I talking to Keawe Ahu'ula?
Yeah.
But he wanted this he's like, when Kayana comes to me, like I wanna fucking slam him. He's gonna come to me, he's gonna talk all this shit and and I wanna be able to insult him and this and that. I was like, okay, so like, what's your issue with him? He's like, he's haole. He's bringing on these haole things and wearing these stupid haole clothes and I was like, his name is Kaiana Ahu'ula. I was like, you wanna bash him? Should I call him Kaiana Ahu Haole? and then he got that in, and so when I saw them, that was like, I was so stoked. I was like, just like these little things that I felt, little things that I was able to contribute to, and I thought were maybe like, because again, like ʻŌlelo Kuamuamu is a huge part of ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. We talk about the aloha and all these kinds of things, and like, yeah, but like, what did aloha mean back in the day? Because these are cousins, these are brothers, these are siblings, and they did have aloha for each other, like, and they also went to war, and then sometimes like the war would stop, and when the war stops, and the two ali'i come together and they cry and they ʻike, ʻike kekai me kekahi, and they come to peace, and they so there's like these cultural things that happen. So to be able to contribute to those things, I think that's like that's probably the route that I would like to go down moving forward. I would love for us to have more content because again, input is important, and input, while we want it to be educational, ultimately most people just want it to be entertaining. That doesn't mean they don't want it to be educational, but they're looking for entertainment. And I think there's so many ways. I think it's harder to make entertainment uneducational than it is to make it educational. So I want to see more Hawaiian entertainment. I'd like to be a part of that if possible. I also don't need to be because we need to have people doing it as much as possible. But if we can educate our people through entertainment, that's one of the biggest roadblocks in learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi and even in normalizing cultures. Again, we don't have the community, right? So we have to rely on, I can't go back in time. I can't live with Ka'iana and Kahikili. But through a movie, through a TV show, again, our best guess, not always, correctly. And again, in the show, like they made these, they took liberties, right? To change timelines and facts and characters and things like that. Some, I think are less bothersome than others, but I'm also not gonna let like perfect be the enemy of good. And I think the show was really, really good. But I think there's a lot of things that, there's ways for us to educate our people without saying, hey, come sit down in the classroom. Come listen to me talk for 3 hours on this podcast. Like, watch the show, have fun, and walk away with things that you're not even knowing you're learning. But when you walk away, one day you'll find yourself, but the kind of, oh shit, like, I kind of know. Yeah.
That's the best. I mean, that was such a wonderful show, and I've connected with Pa'a and a lot of people on the cast. Luciane was on here, Moses. I've forgot I talked to you at the red carpet for the Tivor premiere, and we met Cliff Curtis, and our family from I believe my sister said from Ka'u comes from that Keawe bloodline. So it was cool that we got to talk to Cliff about that. I hope to see more things like that, and I know there will be, because this was just like the last couple of years had just been so many with Moana, and after this, I'll be going to the Moana 2 screening in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. There's just so many. It's like so cool, and not saying it was never cool. It's just like when I was growing up, it didn't seem like it was cool, but now it's like it's the coolest thing, and I'm so happy to see that, and I'm so happy to be a part of that.
Moana sounds so weird in English.
Really?
I've only watched it in Hawaiian.
Oh,
I was lucky.
Wait, like the first one.
The first one, because of Aiulu was the translators, right?
Oh.
So I got a DVD. I'm lucky, and that was one of the big problems with it. Is like we did all this work, but it's not out there for the people, right? Moana 1 was only available on DVD, and the DVD were only given to the schools, the libraries, and then there were some people who were part of the project who got it, but it wasn't publicly available. So what's super awesome about this Moana 2 being in Hawaiian is that it's not going to DVD. It's on Disney Plus.
Oh,
it's on Disney Plus,
cool.
and they also made the first Moana, accessible on Disney Plus too.
Super cool.
So go to Disney Plus, right? When you watch your movie, you go to the settings. You can choose your subtitles, and you can choose audio as well. And so ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, and it says ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. It doesn't say Hawaiian language. It says ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And there's like Moana's in choke languages, but on Disney Plus now, every single person who has access to Disney Plus can watch at least 2 movies, feature-length cartoons, maka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And watch it and go back one day and listen to it in English. You're going to think it sounds so weird. So weird.
All right. Well, I'll see how it is today. I'm excited for that. Was Kaliko in the first one? Did he voice any in the first one, or did he audition? Kaliko Beamer?
Kaliko Beamer. Are you talking about Kaipu?
No, Kaliko Beamer trap.
No, I don't.
I feel like I saw a video of him.
He had posted his his audition.
He
One.
posted
He
the
was I think he was
audition.
trying for Tamatoa.
That's what it was.
And he sang the song Shiny.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
Kulali.
Yeah. Because I'm talking with him next week for a March episode.
And he has a good ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi program that's not a traditional Hawaiian language school class, right?
Okay.
You guys can talk about too. It's another option for those who are trying to learn.
Oh, okay, cool. I just random thing that popped in my mind. All right. So how did you get involved with the whole chief of war and being like Jason Momoa's teacher, coach, advisor?
Mauna Kea.
Yeah.
Mauna Kea. Jason went up to Mauna Kea both times actually in 2015. I didn't know who he was then. He looked like just a big caveman with a top hat. But people are like, oh, that's Jason Momoa. And I was like, who is this? Oh, he's a movie star and this and that. So I never met him in 2015, but I knew that he was there. And in 2019, he went up again. And when he went up, he brought a camera crew too, and he wanted to like interview some of the people that were up there, and he wanted to use his platform to spread the message, and like he can reach people that I can't reach, that we can't reach. And so we had a sit-down conversation, and we talked, and it was just on the really not even on a personal level, just on Mauna Kea. But I felt like a level of sincerity from him. It was not that he knows everything, but like he wants to know, and he legitimately, sincerely like wants to help. Through my experience with him, I believe, I have no doubt, I don't doubt like his care for our people, his aloha for our people and his place. As a diaspora, as someone who, grew up away, it doesn't make him any less or like his feelings any less real. And that was like, those are the experiences that I had with him. And so we had that connection. Now I know who he is, he knows who I am. And then that second round of Mauna Kea, I was coaching paddling. I coached the 12 to 14 girls for Kaiopua, and our girls had qualified for states. And so while I had left paddling, because states is always that first weekend of August, and I was on Mauna Kea in July, I had kind of left the girls, but I was gonna go there and like take them to states. They qualified. Okay, so I'm gonna go with them. So I went to Kauai with them, and on the beach I see Jason Momoa, and he has Sharpie and no TMT, and TMT shut down, and he has his kids, and so he was like doing like a little publicity stunt to spread the message. And so I saw him, and I was like, hey bro, and he's like, oh, what's up? I was like, hey, I coach 12 to 14-year-old girls.
They love you.
Around Kauai. If they'd love to meet you, if you have some time, just take a picture with you, whatever, talk story. He's like, yeah, bro, no, I'm leaving, but I'm gonna be at the house, like, here's my number. Call me when you come by, swing by. So we did. We swung by. He was at the Hawaiian Homes in Anahola, and I took all my girls, and they got to meet him, and they were talking story with his kids. Wolf and Lola were there, and in our conversation, he had told me that he had this dream, this project that he was working on, and that he wanted to do the story of Ka'iana. He wanted to make I think he said a movie. I don't think it was a series. I'm not sure. He said he wanted to make a movie about Ka'iana, his story, but that the only way that he could do it was in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And he is going to need someone to teach him ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And he's like, I'm going to need someone to come on the road with me, be with me 24/7, and I need to learn, because we got to do this. If we're going to do this, it has to be in Hawaiian. And he's like, so I don't know, like, is that something you'd be interested in? I was like, yeah, I'd be interested in it. I was like, and then secretly I'm like, I know this is never gonna happen. I don't think you're serious. I don't think you want me But yeah, like, yeah, that'd be cool. And I don't even think I could do it, but like, you're not asking me if I can do it. You're asking me if that would be interesting. I'd be like, yeah, that would be. And that was it, you know? So, and he shared the script with me. And we just kind of left it at that. And I just figured, you know, oh, it's nice of him. He shared me the script. Oh, it's cool. Like, it's actually, maybe it will happen. Again, I don't think I'll be a part of it, but it'd be really, really freaking awesome if this happens. And so there was that. And then like almost like 3 years later to that day, like right around that same time, I get a call from him. He's like, so what, bro? Like, are you in? I was like, what you mean? He's like, we're doing it. We got it. We got the green light. We're shooting Chief of War, the ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, and we got so much episodes, and we're gonna start here. We're gonna do here. I'm gonna need somebody to come with me. Are you down? I was like, oh man, like yeah, I would love to, but it's like I didn't have 2 kids 3 years ago. Now I got, you know, keiki and like a different kuleana. I don't think I can leave and this and that. But my family was like super supportive of it. So I told Pa'a, when I talked to Pa'a one time, I was like, hey, you know, I want to. I'm telling you right now, like I don't think I can, but give me the weekend. Let me talk with my family and see what happens. And my family was like, no, you need to go. Yeah. We'll help. Like we'll help take care of the kids. You go do it and, you know, give us something good. So I called him. I was like, yeah, I'm in. And that was it. And so from September of 2023, I think we started, September of 2023 through August of 2024, it was basically at his side all the time. For better or worse. Yeah. You know, and I never tried to teach him ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, because as we got to that, it was like, hey, we're in September, we're shooting in 2 months. Like, and we got scene after scene after scene after scene. You're the number one. You got the most scenes. You got the most lines. Like, so we never went into learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. It was really just about trying to get him, and same thing with all the other actors, give them the ability to articulate their lines comfortably. And for me, the ultimate, not the ultimate goal, but like the baseline, like threshold was, let's not be distracting to the viewers. Let's not let our language be so bad that, you know, to the kiaʻo point about rolling my eyes, like where like I cannot enjoy the story because I'm constantly hearing these things that are so blatantly, obviously wrong. And you know, and we have scenes that are better than others. We have scenes where it's like, oh, I think we nailed it. And we have scenes where it's like, oh, that was a little bit rough. Maybe we gotta ADR that, you know, and we gotta reshoot or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, I feel like the show as a whole, and even the actors as a whole across the board, I feel like they achieved that goal of speaking Hawaiian at the worst case scenario in a way where people can still enjoy the show. And there are other instances where people are like, wait, that person doesn't ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi?
Yeah.
I thought Luciani could ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Yeah. It's like, no, you should have seen Luciani when we first started. Like she busted ass to get to that point. And all of those characters, and even Jason, you know, like we put in a lot of time. And for me, as like the kumu guy, it's like we could put in more time. We can do better. We can do more. And that's like how I feel about everything, right? And so, but when I look at it, you know, hindsight, I guess, like I'm talking about the vulnerability. Like for me, like Jason, he had just made it. It wasn't like he's this guy that's been established for 30 years. As okay, like now, like he had kind of almost like just reached that top where he can do whatever he wants now. And he put himself in a super, super, super vulnerable position where he's going to take on this passion project and provide his lāhui and his people with a piece of their history that have been taken away from them and lost. And he might catch cracks for it.
No one is bigger critics.
He might catch cracks for it. You know what I mean? Like and he did catch cracks for it at certain times for things, you know, for certain things. And again, like I'm not saying that like everything that he does is perfect, but I've spent enough time with the guy to know like what's in his na'au and in his heart and what he feels. And you know, all of us, like, you know, we can always have the best intentions. It doesn't always mean we're gonna do things the right way. But I have a lot of respect and appreciation for the vulnerable position that he put himself in. This is my opinion, right? That he put himself in to better our lāhui. Like there's things that I want, that I, sacrifices that he made that I don't have to share with the people. That's his mo'olelo and his kuleana to share and to not share. But I seen it, I was there, and I know what those ones were. And so I know how hard it was for him too. He'll tell you how hard. It's the hardest thing he ever did in his life.
Oh,
And he's someone that again, from the time I spent with him, like he's like a natural learner. Like things come easy to him. Teach himself how to play guitar, teach himself how to work on bikes and ride motorcycles and all these different types of things, making movies and all that kind of stuff. ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi did not come easy to him. He had to work harder on that than probably anything else in his life. And again, it was super vulnerable. Talk about being vulnerable to talk in front of your friends. Now I'm going to go on Apple TV and talk in front of the world.
Millions of people.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a lot of aloha and a lot of respect for him and for people that are willing to put themselves on the line, their reputation on the line, their career in a sense. Because if he bombed it, maybe there is no, what is he going, the Wrecking Crew and all these other TV and the Minecraft and all these other shows that he's doing. So a lot of aloha and a lot of respect for him for what he did.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I have nothing but respect for. He didn't have to do that. He did that for our lāhui. Nobody has ever done that to that scale. Him, Pa'a, everybody, the cast and crew. So much aloha to everybody because he could just go on with it. He has millions of dollars. He has all the fame. He could just be making other movies. He does not need to put himself in that position. So whatever the critics have to say about whether you like what he's doing or not, whether Chief of War was good or not, I would say most of the feedback I heard was positive.
Me too. Overwhelmingly, positive.
I mean,
which doesn't mean you don't take your cracks.
Totally. I mean, it was one of the coolest things I've witnessed in my lifetime. I watched the episode when you're talking with you and Keawe on about this. That's why I wanted to get the story about it and how you thought you had your preschool background. You're coming in with the hakalamas and ae'o'u and all of that. Maybe you would have taught heleo, ʻike, kula. But it was different, so you had to adjust and you had to adapt, and a lot of it was repetition, like repeat after me, things like that. I mean, we also got to realize he's working on 7 to 8 different projects at the same time while trying to learn.
While doing 7 roles in this one project, because he's a director, he's a writer, he's a producer, and there's a lot. So, and then these again, his choice, right? We got to work through those things, but it's not like we just riding motorcycles and learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi all day. It's a huge production. There's a lot of kuleana that goes into it.
Yeah. But the overall production of what it was, amazing. I mean, if I'm ranking people's ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, he probably wasn't at the top.
Not at the top,
but man, there's people who don't even try to do that. So shout out to him. I'm sure I'll get him on the podcast one day.
After mine, right? Jason, you fuck up.
Jason, FaceTime him right now. Every time I see like people like FaceTime on like a talk show or whatever, I always wonder if it's staged. Like how would they just happen to answer and whatever?
That bug is FaceTime straight up. Every conversation is on if it's not FaceTime, it's on speakerphone.
We FaceTime Pa'a on this episode, on one of the episodes with Cal Neesmith, because I guess he helped with the subtitles or something. And so Pa'a randomly called me, and then so I FaceTimed him and whatever. So that was like the one time we FaceTimed somebody on top, but I was just wondering when I see the other stuff. It's That's gotta be staged when they're just like, let me call Tom Brady. He ain't that available. But okay, super awesome that you did that. I mean, you are building an incredible resume of everything that you do. We have one more question from here, and then I have a question from my dad. The real Paul Carnett says, Pokemon or One Piece?
Pokemon or One Piece? What is One Piece?
Oh, you don't know what One Piece?
I don't know what One Piece is.
Oh, well, it's like the other collectible TCG, One Piece, the anime. There's an anime called One Piece. It's like one of the most populars ever. It's been going on for like 20 plus years.
Okay,
I'm surprised you don't know.
I never heard of it.
So you're all just Pokemon and nothing else.
I mean, I heard of Magic. That was a thing when we were kids. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a thing. I never really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! My brother liked Yu-Gi-Oh! He had the cards and Beyblades. I remember.
Let it rip.
Yeah, but no, for me, as a kid, I was into Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Like every other kid, I think it came out while we were kids. It wasn't something that like was happening and we were alive and then it started happening. So yeah, for me it'd be Pokemon 100%.
Nice.
Right.
So we'll rip some packs after.
Ignorantly, of course, because I don't know about One Piece.
Okay, that's all right. What is that? Oh, what's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon? It's gonna be either I'm a the original guy. I'm only learning the new ones now because of my kids. So I'm gonna go with Pikachu, Charizard, and Mewtwo.
Okay, nice. Those are solid ones.
Right.
Yeah. I'm still trying to decide
And the birds.
what my favorite.
And the birds.
The Articunos, Zapdos.
And go
Moltres.
Manuila, Manuahi, and Manuanu.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to decide because everyone's like, collect your favorite Pokemon. I'm like, I don't know what is my favorite. I like Alakazam, of course, Mewtwo, Charizard, like all those ones. But
Yeah. I know. I'm saying it's like sounds generic, but like.
yeah, I'm still trying to decide who my actual favorite Pokemon is. I always had Alakazam in my starters, so maybe Alakazam. But okay. Can't believe you didn't know One Piece. That's crazy. Do you watch any like animes or anything?
No.
Okay,
Never
so
did,
just
yeah.
Pokemon and that's all.
All right.
Okay. All right. So this last question comes from my dad. Now I can say past podcast guest. He says, "Ea ka'u, aloha no e Kaho'okahi, a mahalo nui ya oe no kauhana ho'ola a ho'i kaika i ka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Ea ke kahi ni nau. He aha ko o ouli no ka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi i kia mua aku. Ma elua kaukani kanalima a mahope aku."
Okay. Mahalo. He's asking me like what my
what
my
your-
predictions,
yeah,
like
and
my
your
goals for like
vision,
for
what-
ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi
yeah.
in the next
Where do you see it is?
in 2050 year, yeah. 2050, that's 24 years from now.
Kobe.
Yeah. I would think that well here's what we need to do. I think that we need to set thresholds and goals. Like we need to if for me and like in the Pūnana Leo circle, right? Like in those circles, like Eola Ka'olelo Hawaiʻi. Like to me, like what does Eola Ka'olelo Hawaiʻi mean? How do we know we've achieved that? What are the characteristics of ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi Ola? And so for me, like I've kind of breaking it down into steps. Like I think at the simplest level of Eola Ka'olelo Hawaiʻi, the simplest level means every single Hawaiian has the option to speak ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And we don't have that right now, right? Not everybody has access to Kulakaya Puni. There's not all these different types of ways where we can learn ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. We don't have a society where you can just catch it or what do we
have it caught
instead of I mean, like we're not there yet. So we need to get to the place where every Hawaiian has the ability, the opportunity to speak ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi if they want to. Yeah, to have that choice. The second one I think would be like that everybody in Hawaii has that choice. And then, of course, we take it to the next step that every Hawaiian does speak Hawaiian. And then that every person in Hawaii can speak Hawaiian. We get to that point, ola ka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, right? So for me, I think that we need to okay, how do we make that possible? How do we affect change in our community if we don't have political power, right, to mandate things and so on and so forth? So if we have a population of 1.4 million people-ish in Hawaii, right? And we have, according to the last census, 22,000 Hawaiian language speakers. 22,000 of 1.4 million. I think we're in that like 1%, less than 1% range of people in Hawaii can speak Hawaiian. In order for us to have a shot, we need to 10% of our population at the very least has to be able to speak Hawaiian. Right? If we can get to the point where 10% of our population can speak Hawaiian, I learned this in like nonviolent direct action trainings, where if you can get 10% of your population on your side, then you have the ability to like really enact and create change in your without being at the top political position, right? So how do we get to 10%? Well, that means we need to get to 140,000 speakers. And we're at 22. I think I saw a number recently that's at 26. I personally don't believe those numbers because the question isn't, are you fluent in? Like, I think the question in the census is like, I utilize ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi in the household or we speak. But some people say, we pule before we eat and we do ʻiolo no ke kino. And so we ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi in the household. And I'm not saying it's not true, but i ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi in the household in a specific context at a specific time. And it's not something that we use normally. And outside of that context, you're not using it, probably because you're not able to use it. So we were talking about the podcast, like our podcast earlier, right? Like one of the problems and one of the struggles in finding guests is people that can sit down comfortably for 2 hours and talk only in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, maybe about things that they've never talked about in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi before. So basically, I think that we need to have a 2050 goal. Like if we're at 22,000 speakers, if that's the number, I really think we're probably like at 8 to 12,000 that can like live ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And again, that doesn't have to be the only way. You can just be a contributor, right? Because again, if my keiki can talk to you and they can feel comfortable and you can talk back in English because you understood them, you just can't articulate it, or you can do half-half, like we're creating that environment. But I think that we need to have these goals. The different Hawaiian language community revitalizers and these we have to come together. We have to say in 2050, we need 75,000 speakers. Okay, we got 24 years to get there. What are we gonna do? Right? We can't just have a goal. Set the goal, and then we need to create a plan to get there. Okay, so in 2050, we need 75,000 speakers. When we get to 2075, we need to get to 150,000 speakers. Okay, now in 2075, maybe we have 10% of our population now. Maybe we really will start seeing businesses voluntarily operate in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Maybe we'll see TV shows just coming out in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi normally because 1 in every 10 people in Hawaii can do it. It's not as crazy as it is now. We need to set these, and again, I've thought about these things. Like I don't have all the data at hand to back up these predictions with, but I think we need to bring the data together. We need to collect data. If we don't have the data, we got to find a system in which we can collect these data. We have 4,000 kids in Kaiapuni. Okay, how many are graduating this year? How many graduated last year? How many graduated in the last 10 years? Where did they go? What are they doing? Where can we find them? Yeah, because this idea in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, if you want to learn, come to us. No. We want people to learn. We should go to the people. Where are the people? If the people are playing Pokemon, let's go there. Let's go there. Let's meet the people where they are. Let's not expect them to turn this thing that has been taken away from them, that they're maybe not aware of, that maybe they don't understand the value and the importance of revitalizing. Let's not expect them to just get it and to change their entire life because it's important to us. Go where the people are. They like surf. Let's go ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi in the surfing community. So we bring in Evele Ula. I know. Right?
Trying to get her for a long time. Eve respond to me.
Okay, maybe she's busy. She's doing good in the circuit right now. She's doing a lot of improvement. Yeah. But we have to have these. We have to have these. So again, for me, it's we're at 22, and we got to 22. We started at less than 50 under the age of 18 when Pūnana Leo was established, right? 1981, the estimates were there were less than 50 speakers, native speakers under the age of 18 who could ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And all of them, for the most part, were situated niʻihau, right? And when we say less than 50 speakers, I was told that the actual number was actually 36, right? So now could it be 37? Could it be 38? Whatever. Okay, less than 50, right? So that's where we were in 1981. 2026, you're going to tell me there's 22,000 people who can speak. Okay, so in 45 years, we built our number by 21,950. We need to do more. That's good. It should never be harder than it is at the beginning, right? But we should be developing momentum. We should be making progress. And what was the goal in 1980 should not be the goal in 1995. What was the goal and the standard and the expectation in 1995 cannot be the goal and the standard and the expectation in 2026, just as that can't be the goal and the standard, the expectation in 2050. As times change and as we make progress, we have to increase our standards and our expectations. So I would like to see, and this is for all of the things, even spelling conventions. I think I'm not saying to over standardize and there's only one right way, because we're gonna talk how we want to talk, right? But as a learning mechanism, as a way to bring our people back to who they are, right? We need to meet them at the very least halfway. So I'd like to say that in 2050, give me 75,000 speakers. We got 4,000 kids in the Kaiapuni every year. We can do that because it's not just Kaiapuni. We can create more opportunities. We can increase the access to resources and so on and so forth. So 2050, I want to see 75,000 speakers.
So basically what you're saying is everybody's got to make more babies and send them to Kula Kaiapuni.
Make babies and not even, no, mahalo. Send them to Kula Kaiapuni. Send your kids to Hawaiian language schools. But if you have the ability, don't send them there to learn Hawaiian. Send them there to go to school. Teach Hawaiian in your home. If you have the ability, whatever that ability is. Like, for me, I always knew when I had kids, I don't want to send them to Pūnana Leo to learn Hawaiian. Why would I do that? I did that. I can give it to them myself. And it might not be perfect, might not be great, might not always be right. But I can give it to them myself. Whatever I can, I try to give all of that to my kids. We have to be super, super intentional. So if you don't have the option, yes, absolutely. Like, send your kids to Kaiapuni. There should be an overflow. There's problems with that Kaiapuni system, and I have some complaints about the new process that they have for accepting kids into the system. It just came out this year. They have a new registration and priority process for who gets into Kula Kaiapuni. And it doesn't prioritize Hawaiian language speakers. It prioritizes district. That if you apply for this school and you're in this district, you get first dibs. And then second dibs is if you're not in the district, but you have an older sibling who's already in the school, then you get second dibs. And then if you don't meet any of those and you speak Hawaiian, or you went to a Pūnana Leo or a Kulani Akea, I think is their name, the other Hawaiian immersion, the other Hawaiian preschool out in Kaneohe. That's the third threshold. And it's like, no, like, we need to get our people who can speak Hawaiian into there so that these new kids who are coming in and learning, they don't have the same problem that we have where their community is not made up of speakers. Fill them with kids who can already speak. The idea that this one teacher is going to teach 24 kids who don't know how to speak Hawaiian, it can happen. We've done it. But guess what? You give that teacher 12 kids who already do ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi and mix that with 12 kids who don't. That growing process is going to happen so much more quickly. And when you put 4 Pūnana Leo kids or 4 Hawaiian language speaking kids in a classroom with 20 other kids who don't speak Hawaiian, who's the minority? Where's the norm? Is it more likely that those 20 kids are going to change their ways towards the 4? Or is it more likely that those 4, in an effort to connect with their community and their friends, which is what kids want in kindergarten and first grade and all this, is it more likely that they're going to lean towards English, especially maybe not like people like my kids who are not completely like bilingual at this point, but most Pūnana Leo kids come in speaking English. So that means when they leave, they have the ability to speak Hawaiian, which is probably still not at the ability that they have in English. And so if these people, and it's easy for the Hawaiian language kids to blend in with the non-speaking kids because we also know that language. Yeah, I can speak English and Hawaiian. So English is not a barrier for me, but Hawaiian could be a barrier for them. So, I don't even know what the question was at this point. But these are I think send your kids to Kula Kaiapuni, yeah. But if you also, so like there's a process there that I think needs to be looked at and maybe needs to be vetted more from our community. I don't know what that process was that they went through. I never heard of it until it was, hey, registration starts next week and you better get on it now because if you're not in this district, you're not the priority. Even if your kid goes to Pūnana Leo, even if they go to Mauna Kea, even if you've raised your kid completely in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi and have done everything that you possibly can to keep English out of their lives, your third choice.
What?
And that's a problem, right? So, but tangent aside, send your kids to Hawaiian language school. But if you went to a Kula Kaiapuni, right? If you went to a college and you can ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, be nice to your kid and teach it to them. And don't rely on teachers and a school system, educational system to be their sole outlet. Let that be a support system. Let that be the place where they go to develop their community. For me, like some of my kids there for make friends. Like my friend, I want them to learn, of course, like that, all of those types of things. But I also know that like what they learn is not going to be limited to school. You come home, I'm gonna teach you what I can. I'm gonna give you everything I can, but I want you to go there. I want you to have friends. I want you to be able to speak Hawaiian with your peers, because that's where it's real. That's where it matters. So send your kids to Kula Kaiapuni. Send them all. Overflood the system. We need to change it. We need to create a demand that they have to meet. And if we have a stronger enough of a demand, then we can get power over how that demand is met. And if you have an extra ability, start at home. Start at home and send them to school to learn subjects and to make friends instead of to learn ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Nani. It's cool because, you know, I get these updates because now my niece and nephews, they're Pūnana Leo, Navahi, Pulama Maliola. You know, my little brother, he graduated 2020, Navahi o Kalenio Pu'u. Ke kula o Navahi o Kalenio Pu'u kalamai. And, you know, when I was there, about 100 kids from kindergarten to 12th grade. 500 when I got back from Peace Corps. Now I'm hearing 1,000. We had little trailers, that mobile trailers that we had to go to class, and teachers would move and we would stay in the same class. Now my parents are saying they have buildings, like that whole area, the grass field area that we used to play, you know, football on. They don't. It's like half of it's gone now because they have buildings or like classrooms on it. Like that's so cool to hear. But it sounds like the demand is growing and that people are getting more interested in putting their kids in the Kaiapuni system. But I think one of the hard parts for me is keeping them in there. I mean, I was a kid who left. My sister left.
I was one. Right?
You were one.
I mean,
Kamehameha.
not that I'm proud of it, but like I would.
But I mean,
the truth.
there's different resources. Like I wanted to play sports. That's why I left. Like we finished school at 3:00. We'd always go late to practice. We had to catch a specific shuttle. We had to leave class early, show up late to practice. We were those kids from Kaiapuni that showed up late. But you know, it worked. It's
all worth it in the end.
But
you don't see the end until you get to the end.
Exactly. And you know, one of the things is, they're not gonna be good in English. That's not even us saying anymore. I mean, I host a podcast in English, and
and I've tried everything I can for my kids to not know English.
They know English.
And they know it.
That's what
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. All the video games I play. I learned English from reading the subtitles in the video games. You know, all those RPG games. That's how I got so good at English.
My kid almost reads English just as good as he reads Hawaiian almost. And even without understanding like the meaning of the words. But he learned literacy. Literacy is universal, right? You can transfer it to any language. And so we're watching movies in Spanish because we don't know English, right? So we're watching ʻŌlelo Paniolo or Te Reo Maori. But I'll put the subtitles on because when they ask questions, I got to know what's going on so I can give them answers. But my kid is starting to, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, Pea ʻaʻai ʻike. Oh, helu wa malalo ke kiwi. It's like, you fricka, you reading? Oh, brah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's everywhere.
I think sports is probably just like the last hurdle. Because I think education is solid. You know, you learn a lot of stuff. You learn ʻike Hawaii, you learn the loinas, you learn so many things. You know, like I didn't care about the hula and the oli, but I learned them. And it's good. If I was more interested, I still remember. But sports is one of the things that I like. If you're, and it's not even just a Kula Kaiapuni problem. It's a Hawaii problem. Like the best athletes, they leave to Bishop Gorman, they leave to, you know, IMG Academy, they leave to all these other things just because that's sport.
Opportunities.
That's opportunities.
Exposure.
Yeah. So I think that might be the thing that I guess would be like the last thing in the Kula Kaiapuni system is people that play sports.
Yeah, I mean that's like one of my things with like Navahi is like it's like I like, man, do we have to be a part of? I mean, I'm not from there, right? I mean, so I have no kuleana, but I'm like, man, do we have to be? I see these people playing football at Hilo High or soccer for Hilo High. I'm like, man, that glory could be going to the Hawaiian school, right? Where and that's the thing with like Kamehameha too. And I'm an example. I don't want to say I'm a good student, but like I not fell into that trap because I'm fortunate to have gone to Kamehameha. But like so many of our good Kula Kaiapuni students go to Kamehameha, right? And they do these great things, and it's awesome. But in the end, it's ray ra. You know, like you know, these KS graduates. Like these are Kaiapuni kids. These are like what they contributed to your school. They got from a different school. But those schools are not getting any of that credit. They're not getting any of that prestige. And so like we've kind of hit like, we've created this system where like there's like a bottleneck in a Kaiapuni. At a certain point, we got to leave, right? And so like, for me, like it's it's something that I'm dealing with personally now. I have to I've been preaching this for a while, and now I'm in the position where I have to practice what I preach, no matter how hard it gets or no matter how much opportunities you might think there are in other places. But I want my kids to go through Kula Kaiapuni the entire way. I want our successes at Kula Kaiapuni to graduate from Kula Kaiapuni. So when these people do the great things that they're going to do, and they reach the great they achieve the great accomplishments that they're going to achieve, that we talk about them as that's a Navahi graduate, that's a Ehunui graduate, or that kid went to Waiau, that's kid from Anue. And that will lift the prestige of the school, right? Where it's not just about Hawaiian, we're not just there to learn ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. We can we can do everything that the other school can do, and we can do it like this too. But we're constantly losing those students to these other schools, Kamehameha really probably being the main one. And again, I'm not saying that they're doing bad things, but it is, I think, limiting the prestige that these schools could have that would entice more people to participate in it, which would give us more learners and more speakers, and we get to our goals a little bit quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm a Kaiser grad technically. I would say technically because I went there my senior year only. But I was, Punana Leo, Kaʻomeka Kikulo, Navi Okalenipu, all the way up to senior year. So it's on resume, it's going to look like, oh, Kamakadi is podcast host, all this stuff, Kaiser grad. Right. It's not going to look like, a Navahi grad. So it's a little disappointing for that, but I always try to, say oh, I'm a Kula Kaiapuni kid and give them the praise because that's my kahua. Yeah. Is that no matter what, I learned nothing at Kaiser besides, being independent maybe.
I rep Kaiapuni way more than I'll tell you, I went to Kula Kaiapuni before I tell you I graduated from Kamehameha in the class of 2007 and a half.
Kanoa, that's funny. Kanoa, our little sister, she's the only one that went to Kamehameha from our whole group. Because my mom was a Kapalama grad as well, so she wanted one person to go to Kamehameha on Big Island. And we always joke because obviously, we stayed in Kaiapuni longer, so our Hawaiian is better than hers. So we always tease her and we always say, oh yeah, we went to a real Hawaiian school as a joke. But Kamehameha is a great school, great resources. But it is different, my little brother who stayed there from, the whole time and all the way to Pukakula, he got to experience, oh gosh, I forgot he was COVID year. Because he got to experience that whole Pule Pukakula. He got to experience parts of it, but he's a lot more knowledgeable in some things than I am, even though I'm 10 years older. Just because he had those extra years in that, and he's still kind of more in the community. But yeah, I'd say there's nothing wrong with sticking out in the Kula Kaiapuni the whole time. I think it's just I was in a different era where the Western stuff was more interesting to me than
And I think for all the things that I just said, I would probably change my mind if Kamehameha would do what they should do and go all Hawaiian. Go. You have all the resources in the world. Kamehameha does so much, right? It's not like Kamehameha doesn't do anything. They do so much, but I think relevant to what they could do, I think that's where the critique comes in. It's not that you're not doing a lot. It's that you're not doing a lot in comparison to what you have and what you could do. And if Kamehameha were to make the turn and be hey, we're going to go Hawaiian medium, strictly, K through 12 or whatever the case may be, then I would change my entire mind and say, okay, now we can send our kids to these types of schools, where it's still ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, and that we can have these successes and we can have these accomplishments and we can attribute that to these Hawaiian language speakers. They're not stupid because they speak Hawaiian. They're not less educated. They're not less capable in anything, and no matter what language it is, because they're ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. So if Kamehameha goes down that route, then I'll take back my entire argument.
And it'll help it get closer to the 75,000 in 2050.
Bruh, imagine.
We do.
Imagine.
If they switched it this 1 year, that would happen in 2 generations, 2 decades?
There's no army like the white and blue, bro. That's that's the thing. And for better or worse, right? It can go one way or the other. But you want to talk about reaching Hawaiians? Kamehameha.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well, mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. We're coming to the back end of the podcast, and again, I want to mahalo you for
Finally,
taking this time.
Kalomai.
No, I love it. I will stay here as long as you want. But I know you got some stuff to do, and I don't know what Ozzy got to do later, but he's over there chilling. And we got some packs to rip. But I like to ask all of my guests the same question about keeping it aloha. It's the name of the podcast. It's something I try to do every single day of my life. So I want to know, in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
I don't think that's like something that I would ever like think about, but I would say that I try to keep it Hawaiian. Like, I love this place, fucking love Hawaii. Like, I love this place. I love my kupuna. I love our history. I love our culture. Like, I love our stories. I love the things that we accomplished, and I'm appreciative of the mistakes that we've made too in our past. So for me, it's like I try to perpetuate ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi as much as I can in whatever ways that I can. I try to do what I can to make the resources that I have access to accessible to our people. Like with the Vaia'ulu, when we're pulling these resources from the newspapers, or we're translating kamakau or ʻike, like, there's so much information in there that tell us where we come from, who we are, who we still need to be. But it's really like accessible to like just the 22,000 or so people that we talked about. And even if you just look at the Native Hawaiian population in Hawaii, we're like around like that 300,000, 350-ish or whatever. So again, do the math. That's where we are in the scheme of things in our general population. But if only 22,000 of the 350 or whatever the case, and plus the 350 or more, because there's more outside of Hawaii now, like, they don't have access to that.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I'm not even sure if this is answering the question, if I've totally changed it, but like, I want to, if it's keep it aloha, it's like, I want our people to aloha ʻāina, not just take care of the land, but like aloha ʻāina, like be patriots, be proud to be Hawaiian. We have a history that I'll put up against anybody, and I'm not saying people are junk and we're the best, but like, as far as I'm concerned, we are the best. Yeah. And you can think you're the best, and we can both be right, but we're the best, and we've been only fed things that tell us the opposite. Like, I mean, if you just look at you've talked about with Kanusai them already, I think, in the conversations, right? Like the denationalization of the education system, right? The 1891 Westervelt, William D. Westervelt history book that was utilized in our schools for the next 60 or 70 years as like the content on Hawaiian history. And like, we've just lost so much. And that's like, for me, like, I feel so privileged to know ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And I admit and I acknowledge that I'm a privileged Hawaiian. I've had opportunities and access to things that most Hawaiians don't. I didn't have to deal with, incarcerated parents, or like, foster home, and like poverty, and like all of the things that our people struggle with. Like, I was lucky. I got to go to college, and obviously didn't have the grades, and like I wasn't getting a scholarship, but my family supported me through that. Like, I'm privileged, but through that privilege, like, I've gotten access to things that I would never have access to without it. And for me, it's important that I do what I can to share that with our people, because it's not for me. It's not just for Mako. It's for Kako. It's for all of us, non-Hawaiians included, right? Non-Hawaiians who speak Hawaiian as well. I think we need to remember that non-Hawaiians have a different kuleana to Hawaiian language and Hawaiian history than Hawaiians do, but it doesn't mean that they don't have kuleana. They do have kuleana. It's just different than ours, right? So for me, I just, in everything that I do, whether I'm coaching soccer, coaching the kids in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, trying to give them back their identity, their pride, their trying to give them back their past so that they can reclaim their future. You know, so that'd be my best stab at answering that question, I think.
Amazing answer, and I ka piha you in that goal, that vision, and that mindset, that way of life. I think it's really important, and you know, something that I'm always trying to work on too, like how to live more, you know, in a way of aloha ʻāina, and like we become so westernized, myself included. I'm a privileged Hawaiian as well. I woke up in this world and I speak Hawaiian, right? Like how rare is that? I always say it's a superpower. Like we were so blessed. I know, as I learn too, and I talk with more people and I see more comments on social media and I hear about the generational trauma and all those things, and I didn't have to deal with that personally, you know, and so I have to be, you know, empathetic and have sympathy for the people that had that path, you know, and like, yeah, if they come at me, yeah, maybe they're not actually mad at me. Maybe they're just mad at the position that I have, that I hold. And, you know, that's still part of our lāhui, and we need to support everybody, you know, the people who are hurting, the people that are healed, the people who, you know, aren't Hawaiians, but, you know, grew up their whole life here, that want to be Hawaiian and speak Hawaiian, like people like my dad who isn't Hawaiian and speaks the language fluently. I think that, you know, we got to remember that, you know, we're all this big collective, and I just hate seeing, you know, the Hawaiians going at each other and bringing each other down, trying to cancel each other. I just don't think we have a place for that. I think we should be fans of each other. We should support each other, and we should have, you know, that same patriotism and aloha ʻāina that we have for Hawaii and each other, that we have for our sports teams, for the 49ers, the Lakers, the Saints for me, you know, like, man, like I love the Saints. Go Saints. They're the best. We aren't the best, but they're the best, right? Like, Hawaii is the best. Yeah. It may not be the best to you, but it is the best, you know? Yeah. Like
we don't need other people to think it. We need to believe it. We need to believe it.
We need to take our fandom of sports and all the things we like, throw that into the Hawaiian bucket, and then I think there we have our aloha ʻāina. Yeah.
You know, and I think, like, you know, to your point about like just, you know, social media is a lot of it. It's not even like the fact that like people are, it's like if there was no social media, we wouldn't have these opportunities to attack people that we don't know, that we don't have relationships with, right? And because we don't have relationships with them, like there's no boundaries, there's no respect. Like I can disagree completely with you on certain things. And I mean, and if we're gonna talk about the truth, like I've seen things on the podcast that I disagree with, you know, that I'm not a fan of. But like, I mean, even just not like we were friends or anything, but we knew each other. Like, I felt like, I mean, I would never want to go on and just like attack someone without like without like humanity. Like there's no humanity in it, you know? And so like we can disagree. And I think that we should be able to be critical of each other. But like one of the things that my good friend and another mentor of mine, Andre Perez, who we should get on this podcast. Totally. I'm not sure if he'd want to, but Andre is he's amazing. One of my best friends and someone that I'm really, really very much respect and appreciate. But you know, he taught me in nonviolent direct action. And when we're working as a group, right, like Mauna Kea, and we got all these different people coming together, right, who never maybe worked together before, might not have all the same ideas, and we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do this one thing together. He told me, you know, always assume the best in each other. Like when someone says something that pisses you off, that you disagree with, that maybe you feel like is an attack on you or whatever the case may be, like give them the benefit of, assume the best. That doesn't mean you don't question it. That doesn't mean you don't counter it. That doesn't mean you don't argue it. But the way in which we interact with each other, assume that person meant the best, right? And now maybe through conversation and through diving deeper into it, maybe we'll find out that they didn't, and we can address those things as it comes up. But like, I just feel like the social media world, it's just so like, I mean, and of course I use it, right, and things like that. But like generally speaking, it's like so disgusting.
Yeah, well,
like,
you don't use it to hate on other people. Like I don't
don't.
see you as somebody. I see things and I'll be like, Kaho'okahi probably doesn't agree with that, but I don't see him making a whole entire video canceling that person.
No, there's so many things that I see that I want to address. Like I have my perspectives on it, and of course, like maybe like everyone else, you think your perspectives are important or like maybe the right way or whatever the case may be. But like for me, like and especially in like my role on Mauna Kea, like it doesn't benefit me, and it doesn't benefit our people and like the things that we're fighting against to like just attack each other for everything. Like there has to be accountability. There has to be. And we have to be able to address these things. But as a lāhui, like, you know, kaleikoa again, ʻike kohoa kanaka o kipa heva ia ka ilio. Yeah, like, you know your fellow man, lest you be, unless you be hanging out with like the wrong people, you know, the dogs. So like, we need to have enough aloha for each other. Maybe this is a keep it aloha question too, you know, like we should be critical of each other. We can be, but we can be critical of each other in a way that is more productive, more efficient, way less divisive than what many people are doing today. So I'm not a believer in just like let everybody go do whatever they do, you know, because I mean that's how misinformation spreads, that's how disinformation spreads. But at the same time, like I don't feel the need to attack everybody for every little thing. I think that we need to utilize our relationships with each other to have these conversations on a personal level, and like, you know, and like if me and you have a big disagreement, you know, maybe one day it gets to social media because maybe you're super hard head or I'm super hard head, but like if we have a relationship with each other, even if we're not best friends and we've never hung out before, but if I wanted to reach out to you on social media, I could. You would probably respond to me. That's how we ended up here. And if you reached out to me, I would probably respond to you, right? And like or if I know your number, if I run into you at Coco Marina again, I can like, if it's like that important, like you're passionate about, like have the conversations with the people, and there's going to be times where you got to go to social media, like, because that's how you can reach the masses and share your perspectives. But I mean, like, also do your homework. That's what George Helm said, right? Do your homework, because what we're looking for is the truth. Do your homework. Always, you know, like, even like, I think I'm not sure if we were talking about this earlier. I was talking with someone else, but like, you know, when we're making up new Hawaiian words and it's like, oh, we don't need that Hawaiian word because they have this Hawaiian word. Okay, awesome. Get rid of this Hawaiian word. And like, we know we take our best guess for when we can, and we be open to new information coming out that may or may not change our minds. Like, not everything is not set and definitive right now. We know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. And if we're lucky, the amount that we know is going to increase and the amount that we don't know is going to decrease. And as that happens, it should inform the way that we feel about things and the perspectives that we have on things. But there's just this culture, right? And against this social media culture where it's like just bash it. So hold each other accountable. Be critical. Like, we have to. Like, I think that's a sign of intelligence, you know, an ability to have these deep conversations and not taking it personal unless someone makes it personal. Don't make it personal. That's not what it's about. Like, attack the issue, not the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's another Mauna Kea. That's another Mauna Kea tactic. Yeah. Right. And then again, I'm not saying like never, because if this bugger's gonna just keep doing it and just keep doing it, then yeah, there might be a time where it's like, okay. But like for me in our lāhui, we only have who we have. Right? We don't have enough, or people are leaving every single day. That number is only growing, and it's only growing, and it's only growing. And the people that are coming in is growing and growing and growing. Like, we are important. We need each other. We talked about it earlier. It's not about me, but we need us. Like, we need each other. And so the more bridges we burn, the farther we got to swim. And the ocean is rough.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I just feel like a lot of it's just misunderstanding. Maybe you misinterpreted it. Somebody is trying to say something, and you know it doesn't come off the way they want to say it. You know, I've shared this before. Is people judge you on your intentions? I'm sorry, on your actions, not your intention. We judge ourselves on our intentions, not our actions, and that's where it gets in trouble. Because you know, it's like some of the things. I mean, for the most part, at least for like the last 2 years, we've been pretty clean on the podcast. Maybe some of the things the guest says people don't like, but some of the things that I got in trouble for is like, I just like I didn't articulate it in the best way, you know, and like when people, but I appreciated the people that like had the conversation and like, or guests that came on like, hey, I didn't agree with what you said, but I watched the full episode and I got more context. Or like I looked into you more, like, okay, yeah, he didn't mean it like that. And we have a conversation and I'm like, okay, this is what I meant, but this is how it came off. It's the same as like arguing with your significant other. Like, oh my gosh, it's like, I didn't mean to say, I'm just trying to help you and do this. It's like, no, but that's not what it came off at when you said it like that. And I think people, like what your friend said, we got to give people the benefit of the doubt and just be like, okay, let me take a step back. Maybe they didn't mean it in the way that they meant it.
Give them the opportunity. They can prove you wrong.
Let me ask.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. But let me not jump to conclusions. Yeah. And the jumping to conclusion is where the drama happens.
Maybe if I just breathe for 30 seconds, like I can attack them in 2 minutes if I want.
Yeah.
But maybe they take this 2 minutes just to see. Right? And then if not, you know, do what we got to do.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I mean, we got to have a little bit more, we just got to act a little bit more like humans, I think. You know, like social media are just these robots. Like if all of these conversations were to happen outside of social media, they'd go very, very differently.
Totally.
So maybe try to just
I tell you, man, it's 90% good and 10% bad on social media. That 10% bad, 0 of it is in person. And I've had people that, you know, that probably commented on this podcast or don't like me. I seen them in person. They never said one thing. So, all right. I want to know, is there one thing, what is something that you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Something that I wish people knew about me that they don't.
Maybe something you think people misunderstand about you just from, you know, what they see.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm kind of out there a little bit, and you know, like, people that know. What is the question?
What is something you wish people knew about you that they don't? Or I explain it as, what do you think, like, something that people misunderstand about you?
Gotta be careful what I say.
Like, for example, I'll be like, I'm not super extra. Like, I don't like going out. Like, I'm outgoing and I can have conversations like this, but I prefer to be at home.
I'll say this, yeah. I'm as much public speaking as I might have done, it still frightens me. I still lose control of my breathing before every single talk, before I sit on this podcast, before I host an episode of Mai Ka Pūnana Mai, before I get in front of the kumu at Pūnana Leo and teach a session, before I get on a camera on, you know, the Aloha kupuna at Mauna Kea and do a press conference. Like, I'm still, public speaking still makes me extremely nervous. Like, I'm shaking for the first 5 minutes at least of my talk. And I always try to do, like, before we started, I went into the, right on there, I just did a pule. Like, I just, you know, I asked my kupuna, you know, to give me the strength and the courage and the clarity to not fuck up, to, you know, to, like, to do things to the best of my ability. So I think, like, that's one thing I would say that people have a misconception, just based on my experiences that they've said to me. I don't know what people think privately, all kinds of stuff probably, I'm sure. But people have told me, oh, it's so easy for you, and it's not. It's super scary, because I don't want to mess up, because I don't want to let my people down, especially like in those times at Mauna Kea. Like, I feel like I'm representing so many people, and as we know, like, it just takes one mess up, and I'm not worried about, like, catching cracks from the people, but I'm worried about, like, you know, especially like when you're in those positions of leadership, like, it's tough, and if you mess up, you can impact a lot of people. Yeah. So I take everything that I say, like, publicly seriously. I try to give it as much thought as I can. Even like last night before we came, like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna, like, I don't know if he's gonna ask me these questions, but, like, these are topics that, like, are important to me. Maybe there's ways I can get into it, through conversation. But I also I should try to organize my thoughts a little bit, just because that's what's so scary about doing these podcasts. It's there's no there could be prep, but we don't know where we're gonna go.
It's unscripted, yeah.
And sometimes we get inspired to talk about things that maybe I haven't fully vetted through my mind, but you have a huge platform here, and I have an ability to maybe reach people again, because I would, not that my thoughts are the best or whatever, but I don't think they're horrible. Otherwise I would think other things, so it's an opportunity to try to maybe reach people and maybe get people to think a little bit differently in a way that I think makes sense or is beneficial. But there's a chance that I said something on here that I didn't fully articulate well, or that, I haven't.
I've been there many times.
I didn't fully vet in my mind. So, I take it super, super seriously, and it's super stressful because it only takes one mess up, right, to lose everything or to ruin everything. So public speaking still gives me the chills and the sweats till this day.
Wow, I would have never guessed, but mahalo for being vulnerable and sharing that. Now I'm curious, what is one thing you wish I asked, or one thing you thought I would ask on this podcast?
What is one thing I thought you would ask on this podcast?
A lot of people think they're scared to come on because they think I'm only gonna talk about Hawaiian stuff, when it's maybe even 20% of the guests that we have.
Actually, and I'm not complaining about this at all. I'm very happy that we talked about the things that we talked about, and not what I thought maybe you would have asked. I thought we would have talked a little bit more about Pokemon, just because at home, and this is not I'm not trying to show off or anything, but me and my kids, we've been opening cards for a year and a half, to basically the whole Scarlet and Violet expansion pack that I've learned about, right? So we started maybe a couple of weeks before the 151 came out.
Oh, I wish I started at that time.
I was all the Pokemon I know, right? But it's such a thing in Kona. Everywhere we go, we go to Big Island breaks, and
shout out Keawe and all those guys.
Mahalo, they always
Charizard King.
They always take care of the kids. I'm so appreciative of them. We've only been there a few times. They're a brand new store, but they appreciate, everybody's talking about the videos. Oh, the kids doing ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. It's so me. Bro, we watch them on the big screen in the show. And I went to I'm exposing myself. I went to the Pokemon card show in Hilo this other week.
Yeah.
And because my kids are getting older, and Cavello, he went to the store, my oldest son, and he heard that there was a trade night the next night, and he wants to go trade. And I'm bro, I did this when I was a kid. This industry is completely different than what it was when I was a kid. And we just put them in a binder. So I wanted to go and kind of learn the trade ups, and because my kid wants to do it, and I want to be able to support him through it. He's going to need my help because he kind of negotiate with these people who are talking in English, and he's going to talk in ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. And they're going to tell him a name, and he's gonna be who's that? And he's like, do you mean this one? And they're gonna be well, who's Ivikai? They don't know who's Ivikai, who's Manuanu, who's Manuhau, and who's Kamanaiki, Kamananui, Kamanalele. So, I think that's what I thought there was gonna be more questions about, just because of the timing of it. That's it. But I'm very, very happy that we're able to cover it in a way that is not dominant over what I think are important issues and things that I'm passionate about. But I use Pokemon as a way to try to get those values and those perspectives out there, right? People want to ask, why do you name them in Hawaiian? Okay, thank you for asking. How much time do you have? Because I have my reasons and I have my perspectives on it, and I have my analysis on it that I think is good, that has changed over time, that I'm sure will change over time. So that would have been what it is.
Sorry to break to you. We will be talking about Pokemon. It's just at the end of the podcast. It's all the work first, play later.
Mai kai.
All right. So mahalo for sharing that. I got my last Fast 5 question. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, before I get to the end of the podcast, I got asked if you could share a life hack with us. Oh. Were you able to think of one?
Life hack. I got 3.
Okay.
I got 3. I use frozen grapes to chill cooled wine.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I use a wooden spoon over a boiling pot of water to prevent overflow.
Oh, yes, I've seen that before.
I'm totally joking. These are the things I Googled. I try to remember. I'm trying to remember what the third one is.
I was like, that's good because a lot of people just share like words of wisdom and whatever, which is awesome. But like,
I do the wooden spoon. I do the wooden spoon.
I like.
I don't drink wine, so I have no idea.
Life hacks like that.
No idea.
I don't drink wine.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I googled them. Those are the three. Those are the three examples. So I was gonna.
But those are still good ones.
But wooden spoon, you know, that's one of the. But for me, like really, my real one is I've learned over time not to worry about things that I can't control. And that doesn't mean that I'll never have control over them, but until I do, I don't worry about it. I used to be like I still live, I think, I'm stressed a lot of times with different work projects and different kuleana and trying to fit everything into the 24 hours that we have in a day. And I've dealt with things in my personal life that have been very difficult over the past 6 years or so. Life-changing events that, you know, I wish would have gone very differently, and that would have very, very different outcomes. And so I've especially like in the last 6 years, I think I've experienced like a lot of things that I would normally just be consumed by and stressed out continuously, even though that there's not going to be a verdict on this or like a resolution to this or an actual like addressing of this for the next 4 months. But for the next 4 months, I'm just going to be stressed and worried. Like when it comes, it comes. I'll worry about it then. That doesn't mean I'm not going to prepare for it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to have a plan for it. But I don't get caught up in how bad things could go. I want to be prepared for that, and I want to be ready to address that. But I'm not going to worry about it until it comes. And it's not that I'm not thinking of, so I've learned, I think that's difficult for a lot of people. It was difficult for me. But I've learned to not worry and stress about the things that I cannot control, and put my focus and my attention and my energy into the things that I can control. And what I cannot control, when I have the ability to control it, or it's made a decision and I have to address it then I will. I think like I'll be prepared for it, but I'm not gonna be like consumed by it. So
that's good.
Control what you can control, and be prepared to address what you cannot control, but don't stress about it and worry about it.
Well, like control is just an illusion, guys. I agree with everything you just said. All right. Last fast fave 5 questions. These are just rapid fire answers, and then we're gonna rip some Pokemon cards. Okay. Favorite childhood snack.
Favorite childhood snack. Ooh, I don't know. Probably probably musubi.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Anywhere particular or homemade?
Homemade is always cool when you get to go on a huaka'i and then mom made some nice musubis.
Okay. Favorite travel destination
that I've been to or that I want to go to?
You could do one and one.
I've never been someone that like really wanted to travel. That perspective has changed a little bit. I've just always like I'm in Hawaii.
I agree.
Where do I want to? There's no place I'd like to see more than I want to see this place and be at this place. But I think I got to go to Japan for the first time about 1.5 years ago, maybe a little over a year ago, and that was super cool. It was I really enjoyed, again, like talking about perspective, right? Like privilege. I never had to struggle through learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. I had to struggle through getting like clean at it, and still am, but like I never had to struggle with articulating thoughts. I could put it out there. To go to Japan and to put myself in that position where I'm part of the people that have no clue what's going on, I enjoyed that a lot. I really enjoyed going through that experience. So I want to go back to Japan again. I would fly to Japan, get off the plane, spend 4 hours in the airport and just eat at the airport and jump back on the plane and go back home. Like if that's all I could do. Like I love the food in Japan, the sushi, the wagyu,
cheap Pokemon cards.
I loaded up over there for my kids too.
Nice.
We were tight. So I'd say Japan, but I'd like to go to places that don't operate in English and just kind of work my way through that.
Yeah, totally. That's fun. Okay, and favorite guilty pleasure? Pokemon.
For the kids, bro. For the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids. Yeah, I know. I would say I enjoy opening Pokemon with my kids. And I've also, this is again, I'll expose myself. I've also recently gotten back into WWE.
Oh, nice.
I watch wrestling. Yeah, so Tribal Chief.
Are you?
I had bought a plane ticket to WrestleMania and I canceled it.
When is it?
It's in April.
Oh, wow.
I bought plane tickets to Vegas. I was going to go to WrestleMania and then the ticket prices came out and I was like, screw that. I'm going to wait for a Royal Rumble. I almost went to the Royal Rumble last year in Indianapolis. It just happened but it was in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So I'm not going there. But that'd be it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really
I like wrestling. It's entertaining. It's fun.
Okay, I guess I'll change this. We don't need to know your favorite TV show or movie. It's fine. Favorite wrestler.
Favorite wrestler? I like the Tribal Chief. I like Roman Reigns. Yeah, I like Roman Reigns. I like the Wahine too. Like I like Liv Morgan. I don't know a lot. I like the EST.
I recognize the names, but I'm not super.
I like Bianca Belair. I like the EST. I like Dominic Mysterio. I like him as a heel. Yeah, Dirty Dom. Yeah.
Ozzy and Kaho'okahi is just nerding out on
there you go, guys.
now.
There's something that people didn't know about me. Maybe.
Yeah, that's super cool. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, I just happen to like ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi and all these Hawaiian stuff. Too,
yeah. You know? Last one. Favorite Hawaiian word.
Favorite Hawaiian word? I don't have a favorite Hawaiian word, but I think an important Hawaiian word that it feels like if I could share a Hawaiian word with some people, maybe for some perspective, I would say, especially as it relates to the things that we've talked about, I would say ho'omanawa nui.
Oh.
Ho'omanawa nui, because people think about ho'omanawa nui as patience, right? But like anybody who has a basic level of understanding of ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, like ho'o what? Ho'omanawa. Okay, so what does that mean, right? We make time. How much time? Nui. Ho'omanawa nui. Endure. Endure. It's not just be patient. It's not be patient and wait around and expect something to happen, but it's endure. Go through the struggle. Ho'omanawa nui kākou I ka ho'ola I ka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Yeah, like let's endure this struggle to revitalize ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Yeah, ho'omanawa nui kākou I kiaʻo I ka ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Don't just be patient in learning ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi. Like endure it. Yeah, keep making the time. Keep making the time to achieve what has to be achieved. That's my word. Ho'omanawa nui is overgeneralized as patience. And we have other words for patience like aho nui, right? You know, so not that ho'omanawa nui doesn't mean patience, but there's a different context to it. Yeah, ho'omanawa nui I ka eha. Yeah, like endure the pain, endure the struggle. So ho'omanawa nui.
Cool. Oh, dang. My brother always, if you guys ever hear a phone call, it's from my brother because he always calls me 10 times a day, Micah. And my phone's on Do Not Disturb, but you know, if you call multiple times or if it's like your favorite, if it's on your favorite, the call goes through, even if it's on Do Not Disturb. Micah, stop calling me. I'll call you back in a second. We gotta rip Pokemon cards. Ho'omanawa nui, Micah. It's one of my favorite words too. I mean, it's a good way for me to keep it aloha is, you know, by do ho'omanawa nui. So, all right. Before we end the podcast, we end the show with ripping some Pokemon cards. Shout out to Bryson from H&L Collectibles. He just gave me these packs. He's going to be sponsoring the pack rips at the end of the podcast. So, hike oike koho.
Okay, Pikachu.
Pikachu, of course. Aye. Yeah. And
Latia. Latia? Is that Latias?
Latias.
Yeah, okay, Latia kena.
Yeah, Latia. Okay.
The keiki like Latia.
So you have to ponoe a'oia'u.
Okay.
Ina na inoa Hawaii.
Okay, mamua.
Okay.
Let's do our, we gotta do our...
Wait. Elekia oniafa.
Well, that was for Lekia, yeah. But our Lucky Mai Ka Pūnana. So I know it's just me and you.
Okay.
But I've honestly, so as much as I love Pokemon, it's not like my kids have dragged me into it. But I've never opened the pack without my kids.
Oh.
Always with my kids.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I've never, this would be like this is my first own personal pack since my re-entry to the Pokemon world. So e ku'u mau keiki kawelo me kalamaku uno hopu mai minai. So my kids are with me right here. Okay, so we're gonna keep it a kako. We're gonna keep it a kako.
Okay, but I also have Kia no Oko, hiki o eke lawe ki o ika hale e vehe me kau mau keiki.
Mahalo.
I kia puleae kala Pokemon de.
Kalahano, yeah.
Kalahano kanakolu.
Ai.
Makiki o Pokemon laila e vehe kia maka Pokemon de me kau mau keiki.
Alela e tag va ya oko. Mahalo. No olua kalamaku.
Yeah. Phantasmal Flames. Kilaka mea ma'amau ike au.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so ho maka au alaila e pani oi.
Okay. Lucky mai ka inui loa kako.
Lucky mai ka inui loa kako. Ua o lalawo kilam ma ko'u po'o ka I nehi nei or e lua laku nei. Momoa ka wehe ana ki kai ka leka. Okay, so come on, ahi.
Wila.
Oh, wila, okay. Okay, Alila. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Money. Okay, so this is
Pu'one.
standing gas. Pu'one.
Pu'one. Yeah.
Pu'one. Drober.
Oh, what do we call him? I don't know if we've named him before.
Yeah, because it's certain.
There's a new one. Yeah, I don't think we've named that one before.
Drober.
Yeah. Drill, I think of Kui. Yeah, maybe I'll call him Kui Vili. Vili Kui.
Vili.
Yeah. Makeneki.
Makeneki. Magnemite.
All right.
Slackot.
Oh,
It's like
did
a
we
word for
name?
lazy.
I don't think we. Oh, did we name him? I don't know if we.
Slackot. Something.
I don't think we named him.
What is lazy in Hawaii?
You got Moloa. You got
Oh, yeah,
even like
Moloa.
Lolena.
Aloha.
We could call him. I'm hesitant because I'm thinking of Auntie Lolena, Tutu Lolena, and I don't want to give him that name. So, no name for him yet. No name for him yet.
Lolena.
No.
Dragon Elixir.
Oh, Waimo Olani.
Vaimo Olani.
Oh, Kulako.
Kulako. Golden Goal. Oh, Magnazone.
Makeneki Nui.
Makaneki Nui. Rabsa?
No more. We never.
Yeah, I
no.
like how mine.
Aye.
Rabska. I know he like a kind of like a spider. Yeah.
Yeah, so like on those like Pokemon that I don't know, I'll
Yeah.
jump on like the Pokepedia,
Oh, okay.
and I'll like, okay, what
See
is his history?
what is it,
And
yeah.
then I'll try to find a.
So
aye.
like kind of like a nana.
If I can't think of a translation, if I can't
something.
think of a Hawaiianization, if I can't find a physical characteristic or trait that I could,
Okay.
then I'll go and do some research.
Okay. All right. And then Lanjo Semeho Kia.
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay. Well, to be determined
Alright.
and Gastrodon.
Yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
bring
yeah.
us home.
Okay. Na olua keia na keiki ea. Lucky mai kai nui loa kākou. Okay, I've never tried to guess what the.
Yeah. So we always like to guess this for fun.
Okay.
Your kids might have fun.
I'm gonna go
doing this.
Papa Lua. Oh, low.
What is Papa Lua?
Like the psychic.
Oh,
He's a for
like
psychic,
oh,
yeah.
psychic. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Like poli ahu ike Papa
yeah,
Lua.
okay,
like,
Papa Lua.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so am I
And
showing
then
it to
Ike
someone?
Keho Ike Akumani.
Okay. So Huamana Lau.
Go on low.
Yeah, the what is that? The
Leaf energy.
leaf energy. Oh, Shuro A'ahe Inoa.
Okay. To be determined.
Oh, hulu hulu.
Hulu hulu,
Hulu,
roughly.
hulu. Yeah, because you get his always hulu
Yeah.
sticking out now. Hulu hulu.
Give me
Oh, this is Vai Vai.
Vai Vai.
The kids name. This is one of the one that the kids named because they saw like the treasure. And
Yeah.
oh, Vai Vai. So they call him Vai Vai.
That's cool.
This is Hulali.
Okay.
Hulali.
Yeah.
Kind of like the glimmer.
Mhm.
Oh, we don't know him.
Cyrano.
Siriano.
Kiliano.
That's sometimes we're making it on the spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're, we got to do a little bit of research. Ole kama ʻāina.
Popoki.
Yeah, I mean, the kids would probably go, oh, popoki papa lua.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they see a cat, they see a popole, and that's kind
Okay.
of meow stick. I'm sure it's something
Okay.
like, yeah. So okay, maybe they would probably say popoki papa lua.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the PI
Pasho.
Pasho Paco.
Paco.
Oh,
Oh, that's a cool one. I never seen that
stun
before.
fish. Ka ole kama ʻāina.
Sunfish. Okay. It's like a potato.
Kula ko.
Okay.
Come on.
Hey, we got an EX.
Oh,
Milotika.
Milotika. I mean, that'd be an easy one. Aye.
All right. Well, that's what we got. At least you got a hit. At least you
We
got a
said,
hit, yeah.
like I tell my kids, mahalo kamealoa.
Mahalo kamelo.
Mahalo
That's what my
kamealoa.
dad would tell me. So,
Right.
mahalo ya oi, mahalo no kia mau e koluhola. That was the
Oh,
fastest
bruh.
3 hours, actually. That was a really fast
I
3
can't
hours.
believe.
With my dad,
My
it was
bad.
it was a very long 3 hours. And aloha ya oi, dad, but that was very long. This went by quicker.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share about Pokemon before we wrap up, or anything else that we talked about?
Did I talk about why we do it? Like why we name them?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I know you're trying to keep everything Hawaii,
Yeah.
and I
I think we did talk
let's
about it a
be
little
in
bit.
all of the areas,
not be dominated by those
Yeah.
types of things. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I mean, I just think like we need to be able to bring again, like take ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi to the places, to the people. We just started making videos. I just thought it would be cool. Maybe like with all of our like analytics and things like from the podcast and the content that we put out, right? Like we know like the demographic that we're reaching. It's like that mid-20s to the mid-40s. And it's like awesome, right? Like those are people who are learning for the first time maybe, or people who are trying to like break the habits that they developed like me as kids. So I just wanted to try to make something that, first of all, like young kids should not be on Instagram and social media, but for some reason I see that they are, right? So if you're gonna be on that thing, I'd rather maybe try to infiltrate your feed with, you know, maybe things that you're interested in, and again, take ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi to you, and try to block out all those stupid videos that our kids are seeing from just these donkeys in America and different places of the world doing stupid stuff that for some reason people think is funny and cool. So yeah, we wanted to make some videos that, you know, maybe would just provide a different content area for ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi, and to continue to debunk this misunderstanding that like that it's an ancient language, you know, and that there's too many things nowadays, and we don't have words for this and we don't have words for that. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And when we don't,
we make them up.
We make them up. And if we don't know, then we'll work with it. We'll work with it. And over time, you know, we'll find a better option. We'll find a new option. So yeah, I just think it's important that we we should have done it a long time ago. We can do more, expand the so-called misperceived boundaries of ʻŌlelo Hawaiʻi.
Awesome. I mean, that's everything that you're doing. I'm a big fan of. I'm gonna be following you on your Pokemon journey, Hawaiian language journey, whatever you do. You know, you have our kako'opia, whatever you need. You know,
Mahalo.
Just let us know. Really honored that you shared. You know, not just a couple hours of your time, but 3.5 hours, back to back 3-hour episodes.
God, so sorry.
You are like a younger version of my dad. And next week is the episode with the governor, so this will be interesting to have your episode with the episode of the governor back to back.
Yeah,
and then we have another Hawaiian language.
Might be a little conflicting.
Yeah, totally. But it is what it is. We listen to everybody's perspective and we talk stories with everybody. But again, mahalo nui loa yaoi no kiaʻe. It was awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to see how much more you accomplish in your life. I'm a big fan of you.
Appreciate it, bro.
Mahalo e Kaho'okahi for joining us on the Keep It Low podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.